side of the Israelis? Ask me anything. Let's talk about it, y'all. Middle America.
And you ain't black.
I don't know what I said.
The first time ever any...
What are you people? We're Americans.
Now, how is the verdict playing politically? I know there have been some statements flying about.
What about now, Ben Moen? There should be audio now, damn it. Thank you for the help, buddy. Good Lord. Shout out to Pirate Alex. So until around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be able to hang out with y'all. We're doing an Ask Me Anything / a review of what just recently happened to Mr. Hunter Biden, namely his arrest, his conviction. He is now also convicted of a crime. I think it's felony. It's got to be a felony, right? If you can go up to 25 years, that's felony territory without even looking. So, dude's in a lot of trouble. There's no two ways about it. He is in a lot of trouble. And considering what happened with Mr. Trump and the DOJ, I can imagine the Republicans are going to be calling for blood. Or this is one of these, kind of hostage situations where it's like, okay, we've got Trump, you guys have our guy, and we have your guy, so you better sentence this guy this way, and you better sentence the other guy that way. But what we have is he's got 3 felonies, supposedly. Shout out to Applejack, gang, gang, gang. He's got 3 felonies, not Applejack. It sounds like the president's son has 3 felonies on his record. So, let's see how that turns out. Now, on the one hand, we all know that if it was my son that got jammed up for all them guns, he'd be looking at a lot closer to 25 years than what we anticipate Mr. Biden is going to be looking at. Now, listen. I don't believe that Hunter Biden is a threat to the public relative to, when you're talking about sentencing people, a lot of the sentencing has to do with, what is the residual effect that letting this guy go or incarcerating this guy, what is it going to do to the community? And I would say that to me, it would cost more literal dollars than what it's worth to incarcerate him and keep him incarcerated. However, fair is fair. You got 3 felonies on your record. You had the best lawyers money could buy. I get it. But I need to know exactly what he did, because anytime it comes to the DOJ situation, to be honest with you, I don't have a lot of confidence on either side of the aisle. The most Biden can be charged is $500,000. Will never get jail time. Postpone sentencing. Yeah. I heard he can get up to 25 years. I don't think he's going to spend 25 years in prison. I don't think he's going to spend 25 years. That would be extremely shocking to me. But let's see. Now DNC is saying they knew Biden shouldn't have ran for president. Yeah, I saw that. The what's his face, James Carville or whatever. It's odd. I think Biden's son's conviction is going to do more harm to Biden than Trump's actual, his actual personal conviction. That helped Trump. I think Biden's conviction is going to hurt. Biden's son's conviction is going to hurt Biden. And, that's crazy. Do what you want with that. But this is where we're at in the United States so far. The DOJ is under the executive branch of the government. Yeah. And the president occupies the executive branch by himself. And I don't, listen, when it comes to Trump and the elections, folks lose all objectivity. But I'm a black man in America. I know when somebody's jerry-rigging the system to go after somebody. I know what it looks like. Applejack knows what it looks like too. And that's exactly what the DOJ has been doing with Mr. Trump. That, however, does not absolve Mr. Trump for the things that he did, because if you're guilty, you're actually guilty. You know, if the cops ran up on you and jammed you up and stopped and frisked you, and you had a 9 on you, you're still going to go to prison, bro. Whether it's fair or not, that's the entire thing. So, look, man, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. But I mean, can we? I mean, are we being serious here? Does anybody think that Hunter Biden is a threat to like national security because he's got guns? Like, really? I mean, I don't know. I think Mr. Biden needs more rehab than he does prison. But I think a lot of people in prison could benefit a lot more from rehab than prison. But that's a different discussion. I cannot wait to see what Lester has to say. Chuck Todd said that. That's great and all, but it doesn't change that he broke the law. Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, like, I don't really know what he did. I've been kind of out of the loop on this legal stuff because, like I said earlier, I had no belief that either one of them was going to get convicted. They both got convicted, but now I have no belief that either one of them are going to get significant time. Trump, because I think we will have a literal riot on our hands and there will be literal bodies on the ground. And I think Biden, just because Biden currently controls the DOJ, and it's clear that for the last 6 years, the DOJ has had one target and one target alone. And that's been Mr. Trump. Let's see. Anyway, guys, you can ask me any question you want. So, like, I'm covering this situation, but you can ask me non-Biden related material. This information broke to me because of the big homie Ranter Matt. Ranter Matt is the oldest admin. Like, he's been an OG since the beginning. If you go to facebook.com/America Middle, you'll see the big homie. He's pretty prominent in the page. It's a free speech environment. So, you know how that goes. I used to warn people, like, yeah, be careful. It's a free speech environment, but it's not a consequence-free environment. So listen, if you want to go in there and you want to argue strongly for your position, like, I'm with you. If you want to argue strongly because, you know, you believe that Donald Trump is a giant victim or whatever, you can use whatever words you want. You can say whatever you want. Try to keep it somewhat civil. We are Americans here, and we're not trying to foment a civil war. But I do believe in strident disagreement. I do believe in that. Ben, however, disagrees with me with the term free speech environment. And I am such a free speech believer that I am posting his disagreement with me that it's a free speech environment. So do what you want with that, dear listener. Hunter Biden is a threat to this country because of his ties to Ukraine and China. I do believe that. And I'm not even, I would probably modify that and say I'm more concerned with the leverage that the Ukrainians and the Chinese have over Biden because of Hunter than Hunter vice versa, if that makes any sense. Biden signed that he was not an addict when he bought the gun. Okay, that's a little concerning. That's a little bit concerning that he did that. I mean, again, that's I don't know if that's you know, enough to get Mr. Biden in some serious trouble. To be honest with you, I don't want Joe Biden in any serious trouble relative to, especially now, you know, that we've got the election coming up. You know, if there's anything that January 6th taught us, it's that people who lose these, and 2016 taught us, is that the party that loses doesn't do very well with losing. So when Trump won, the Democrats took us through 4 to 6 years of Russiagate. They had you beautiful people, some of whom are in the room right now who I won't mention. They had you going after your brother, saying all types of crazy shit, calling me a Russian troll, all the rest of it. And then when it came out that the Russiagate stuff was complete and total bullshit, everybody just kept it moving like nothing happened. Okay? Well, I saw it. These people don't do very good with losing. And Mr. Trump, January 6th showed us very clearly he didn't do very well with losing either. So now what's happening is these two sides are saying, oh, you want to get legal with it? Cool, we'll get legal with it. We'll go after your son. I think if they would have left Trump alone relative to this whole Russiagate nonsense and whatever it is they try to pin on him, I don't think I think they would have been able to let Mr. Hunter Biden, go about his way in peace and break all the laws he wants to. But, this is a tit for tat game, and these guys are getting caught up in the middle. It's pretty crazy. Jason says, I'm actually surprised that they convicted Hunter. Now Biden can pardon him. Gun charge is federal, right? And use that as an excuse to step out of a presidential race before the Democratic convention. Yeah, Jason, if Mr. Biden is more concerned about the Democratic Party and then by extension America than his own legacy, then sure. But I don't think that he is. I think that he has enough people around him to yes man him into convincing him that he's in good shape. The other thing is, what the hell is going on in our country where these two dudes are the only options that people believe that they have? People really believe that these are his only two options. Biden already declared that he wouldn't pardon. Okay. So there you go. Hunter's tax trial might give harsher penalties. Yeah, I think Trump will win. I think Trump will win too. I was saying on the other one, I think this situation hurt Biden in the way that Trump getting jammed up helped Trump. So when Trump got jammed up last week, he raised like $35 million in one day, got like X plus supporters, whatever, after the conviction or whatever. With Biden, I'm not seeing that kind of response. It's just kind of a lot of, well, Hunter's a fuck up. It's not, he's not his dad, yada, 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 which is absolutely true. He's not his dad. He obviously never knew how to, play the game as well as his dad did. And it appears, I was talking about this with a buddy today, a friend of mine. It appears to me, and this is just pure speculation, that that Bo, the older brother, was kind of functioned like my older brother, like the glue of the family. And when you lose somebody like that in a family, you spin out for a little, and it takes you sometimes a decade to get right. Some people never get right. I'll tell you guys, I'm not going to get into particulars, but I had a pretty catastrophic, loss pretty recently. And, my big brother showed up and took care of me because, I was having a hard time and I was talking crazy and I was about to do some real dumb, reckless shit because I didn't know how to handle my grief. So when a person like that goes down in your family, I could definitely see how it would have a detrimental effect and how somebody could descend into, crazy, drug use, whatever, right? And then when you combine that with the fact that, he's a Biden, he's a multimillionaire, whatever father, hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever, and you grew up without any, speed bumps, I get it. I completely get it. As Ben says, I encourage everyone to vote third party in an attempt to break the cycle. Yeah, it's the same thing over and over again, man. Is that and it's crazy because both sides say the same thing. They'll say shit like, well, it's like, hey, this is the vote of our lifetime, and so, yeah, if you wanna make a point about third party, that's great, but now's not the time to do it. Do the third party stuff when the nation isn't being held hostage by a crazy person. And every single election cycle, it's the same thing over and over again all the time. This is the election of our lifetime. So it's always like, Ben, they always tell us, oh, yeah. They won't invalidate the third party thing. They'll just say, yeah, but the moment right now, it's like too crazy. Like, we need you to just fall in line for this election and then whatever. There you go. As I Look at News says, how's that racial jungle working out for Biden? Well, yeah, now, unfortunately, that his boy's going to prison, he's going to have a lot of time to hang out with some black folks because it was Mr. Biden that put all them black folks in prison for his son. I hope them boys remember that, too. I hope when they see their cellmate, his last name is Biden, I hope them boys remember the crime bill. That's pretty, it's pretty ironic if you think about it. The dude that had been so tough on crime and it created this crazy ass crime bill, which if it was a book, can you imagine Hunter Biden? Was it 3 gun charges, 3 gun Fs? Like back in 91, and his name is Jaquan, and his last name isn't Biden, it's Russell or Smith or something like that. Jaquan Smith with three gun Fs, 3 gun felonies. How do you think that would go with Mr. Joe Crime Bill Biden? Okay, so there's a lot of ironies. There's a lot of ironies in this whole situation. A lot of ironies in this situation. Vote third party because they won't be just as corrupted as it pubs. Foolproof. I mean, look, man, and even the term third party, right, is still assuming a two-party dynamic, right? Like it's assuming a two-party dynamic, and then this one would be a third, right? I would just say vote alternate party. There should be 7, 8, 9 parties. Like Americans don't realize this. Like, for example, last year, our friends over in Ukraine had to they basically unseated all the refusnik parties, all the parties that were peaceful and wanted a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Mr. Zelensky unseated all of them. Okay, so like, and when something like that happens, the quote fascism or authoritarianism or Stasiism, whatever term people want to use, becomes a lot more clear. But because Americans, we participate in this two-party system, even when there's an alternate party, we say third party because we're so used to that, right? Whereas the Israelis don't have a third party, the Ukrainians don't, et cetera, et cetera. You know my position. Voting in a broken system gets you broken solutions. Yeah, I mean, this is supposed to be a representative government. And, you know, I said democracy. I got blown up in another one of these posts because they were like, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. Okay, but we're a democratic republic, and we agree with that. At some level, you're supposed to have representation. Like the people that you put up there who are passing laws and interpreting all this data for us are supposed to be doing it with an eye to the needs of the people. But that's been long, long gone, as we know. Maybe like Hogan, my ex-governor from Maryland, he legalized pot in Maryland. Well, I mean, good for him. It's kind of late, though. I mean, it depends on when he did it, right? I can't think of one politician that I liked. I liked Bernie Sanders a lot. I liked Bernie Sanders a whole lot. Bernie Sanders really, truly changed my understanding of politics. It changed, you know, and I mean, it even had something of a theological kind of effect on me when I really began to think about, you know, the Christian ramifications of economic systems and things of that nature. And when you're a Christian, you only think about how horrible communism was because they were mean to us, and obviously Nazism, things like that. What's up, Steve? So yeah, like you have all those, but you don't really see a really strong, robust critique of capitalism, namely American capitalism, in Christian circles. So, like, Bernie Sanders was literally like a life changer for me. And then, you know, unfortunately, I don't know if he ran out of gas. You know what I'm saying? You know, like what's happening with Luka right now. You know, Luka Doncic, he's having to carry the entire team by himself. And I can imagine, you know, look, we're outsiders. So all of us who are judging Bernie for selling out or whatever, you know, I mean, I can definitely get behind AOC if she's a little bit disillusioned by Bernie because, you know, she knows what it takes. She's paid certain prices or whatever. I don't know if Bernie just ran out of gas. He couldn't do it anymore. Whatever the reason is, he created this beautiful movement, made people think, hey, maybe we can be a different America. Maybe things can actually change. And then he began to, you know, every single time, like a dutiful soldier, he would go out there and endorse these people who hated him. And aside from the whole, like, it doesn't matter if they hate him. Well, it kind of does, because it's just like Trump. There are some political figures who are not politicians more than they are archetypes. In other words, Trump is an archetype of something. And that's why I say, like, If you get this man arrested and he does any sort of significant jail time, folks will die. Why? Because you're committing an act of iconoclasm if you do that to Trump. If you reduce his social status on the stage of the world and you have him in a jumpsuit and all the rest of it, the people that he represents, and I don't mean in the political sense, I mean in the identitarian sense, the people he represents who see themselves in him or want to see themselves in him are going to do things to square that circle. Say it that way. Bernie Sanders was another sort of archetype, and he was kind of the Abel to Trump's Cain, if that makes any sense. Both were talking about populism. Both were blaming the, whatever. And so Bernie was also became more than a politician. He became an archetype of like almost wishful thinking, America, like what could America be? Imagine if we didn't spend $8 trillion on killing people over the Middle East. Imagine if we spent $8 trillion on our infrastructure and our healthcare. What kind of an America would we be? We cannot patch up the last 20 years of the GWAT, but we can go forward with a real eye toward making our country, And look, you could still have a defense budget. He wasn't saying we're going to completely cut the defense budget. He was just saying we're going to give some money to the common folk. And so, like when he went down the way he went down, man, I mean, he set back the movement a good 10, 15 years, possibly even 20 years. I truly believe that. Because now you're going to have to overcome the specter of Bernie. They're going to say, listen, he worked for 40 years at this shit, had 2 presidential runs. It didn't work. And so it's over with that kind of politics. We got to go over here. And so I think it's going to take probably another 15 to 20 years to get to where we need to be. Pixie Dust had said the world needs Jesus. Big facts. Big facts, sis. I agree. I personally think it's all BS. Look, our judicial system is fair. I want that child groping freak to do prison time. Who's a child groping freak? Are we talking about the president or are we talking about his son? I haven't heard anything about Hunter being a child groper. We do know that the daughter's diary, where she detailed taking showers with her dad when she was like 11, 12 years old, I definitely see how you could call him a child groping freak for sure. And I'm sorry, there's nobody convinced me otherwise. I mean, when we seen this dude sniffing little girls' hair, all types of weird shit. I'm talking about girl now. I'm not talking about like woman or even young woman. I'm talking about girl. Y'all saw the videos. I'm not a fan of that, and maybe I'm oversensitive to that because experiences I've had in my life or whatnot, or certain areas where we were called to minister. But I'm sorry, man. Like, here's my thing with Biden. If it came out that there is definitive, concrete evidence that he violated, let's say, a 15-year-old, none of us would be surprised. None of us would be surprised. If it came out that Obama did that, I would be surprised. I'd say, what? Obama? But if Biden did it, I would not be surprised. And I think that's a problem. And that's a guy who's currently the most powerful man on the planet. Okay? And then y'all are telling us that the only alternative is the guy who broke our streak of a bloodless transfer of power, which in my opinion is America's greatest achievement. If you look at the world and you look at world empires and global empires and things of that nature, that is something we've done pretty well that I want to tap myself on the back for. Because we're the first global empire. I mean, we're still doing all the empire shit that empires do. But we're the first global empire that even had a semblance of some sort of representative government. For that, God bless America. It is what it is. My sister lives in Russia. She said they are showing all types of videos and pics from the trial that we aren't privy to here. Yeah, I mean, look, Russia is in a state of war with America once again. And so propaganda goes along with war. I don't know which is which. I definitely know we can't trust American media, but I also think it would be a mistake to blindly trust Russian media because look, they're a world power just like anybody else, and lying is part of the game. Unfortunately, it just is. I don't know why I'm so blurry right now. Did I hit the blur thing? Nope, I did not. That'll fix itself soon, inshallah. Let's see. My pal Barack is a loyal partner to his wife Michelle. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like that was one of the things. You had to hat tip him on, especially as a black person. You're just waiting because you knew if anything happened that they'd be all over it. You know what I'm saying? It'd be, oh, look at this black man and their families, blah blah blah. But they couldn't find anything on the man. I was very, very proud of that. And of course, all of that goodwill gets undone because this man ran out of bombs to drone kill little Afghani kids. So I'm glad that you had a nice Cosby type family, Mr. Obama. That was great. You represented us very well with a lot of dignity, and then you turned around and destroyed all these other people's families, bro. So like you being a Cosby Show black man and being a good sort of whatever, credit to your race, whatever, I don't care. You killed all them kids, bro. I don't and you killed a lot of these kids' parents. Obama for not being Joe's out there, accused of touching kids, and Mr. Obama's out there marking kids. So, and these are the people that we put in the office, man. It's freaking incredible. It's incredible. I don't think God is on any side. I don't believe God plays team sports. I think you're mostly right. Although the scripture says that God is near to the brokenhearted, and it's clear that the Palestinians are in a lot of trouble right now. Red Bull. So from that perspective, I definitely believe God is with the Palestinians on that side. But as far as there's not a Palestinian flag up, above the throne of heaven. There isn't a Israeli flag either, and there definitely is not an American one. But depending on some of these churches, you might come to a different conclusion. I'll tell you what, this blurry thing is killing me, y'all. This blurry thing is killing me. This will hurt my cred with the smears of being a tanky, but never believe any major media. Never believe any major media. Yeah. I don't believe that. The Russians. Look, man, we remember Pravda, right? We remember Pravda and all that craziness. I mean, they're, look, Mr. Putin was ex-KGB. Like, let's not get this twisted. Like, he has intelligence, right? So, they know how to do propaganda very well. We know how to do propaganda very well. So you can't really trust any of the major outlets with anybody. I don't think God exists, but to each their own. Shout out to you, Stoudman. This thing is killing me. Why are you doing this to me? Hold on, guys. I don't know why this camera went all blurry on it, brother. But it is making me lose my mind here. Hold on. What did you do? The fade level? Is it the picture settings? What is it? The braids? Let me hit reset. That really isn't it. I don't know. Why are you doing that to me? Why are you doing that to me? Blur effect. The 10. Hold on. I'm going to switch real quick. The Northeast is dying fast. Yeah, the Northeast is absolutely dying fast for sure. For sure. Not one bullet was fired during the Carter presidency. I agree. Hold on for a second, guys. I'm going to disconnect you. Disconnect. We're disconnecting. Then we're going to reconnect you. You loser. Hold on, guys. Who's a glorified gangster? Somebody's a glorified gangster? Continuity camera on. You guys can hear me though, right? I've gone blind, he says. Here we go. So that's on. Don't worry, guys. Almost there. I think we got it. Resume. Resume, I say. I don't think you've got this camera thing is killing me. Let me see camera. Let's go to camera B. If you guys can still hear me, type 22. I'm just resetting my video thingamajiggy because it was killing me. Vin, have you have you gotten blacker? Yeah. Look at the screen, bro. Look at the screen. That's why everybody's trying to get out of the Northeast, making everybody look blacker than they actually are. Oh shit. I love it when my white friends like take that risk. You know what I'm saying? Because they know I'm a lover of my people. It's clear like I'm a lover of my people and shit. So it's like, ugh, how far do I go? You know what I'm saying? So I always appreciate it when they go somewhere. If you get offended by it, I'm not gonna tell you you're crazy. There's nothing wrong with you being offended by it, but you know, I mean, I'm not offended by it. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. You know. I joke all the time about, you know, growing up in the 90s when everybody made fun of each other and, you know, things were just a lot different in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't care about shit as much as now. I'm not saying that was wrong or right or whatever. Okay, I think we're back, guys. I think we're back. So shout out to the homie for taking the risk. Okay, I'm back. BC's going to smoke. BC's going to smoke, so we're going to be good. Vin, we came to see you. Okay. All right. Well, I'm here. Y'all came to see a brother. I appreciate it. I'm here. I respect it. Yeah, so look, man, I'm not one of those people like I'm not happy that I'm not happy anytime a cop jams somebody up, man. Anytime somebody blows trial or whatever like that, I'm not.
Father's political opponent in the November election here. And the Trump campaign is railing against what they see as essentially an investigation that did not go far enough, saying it is nothing more than a distraction from what
the computer is trying to catch up with itself. So just give it some time. Give it some time, guys. The computer's trying to catch up with itself. We should be back soon. Unbelievable. I think it's... Yep, this thing is overheating again. Did you all, a bunch of guys died in a submarine looking for the Titanic? That happened again? People were in the, died in a... Like the people like from last year that died overseas? Anyway, type 22 when you can hear this if it's current. I think it's catching up. It'll be here. It'll slow down eventually. Vin, I was a far leftist for over 30 years. My only tattoo was a 1973 tattoo to celebrate Roe v. Wade. I represented in court by the ACLU for my animals' rights activisms. Okay? All right, I respect it. What's your perspective, Cedar Park? Are you still a far leftist? You know, what's going on there? All right, guys, let's watch this clip about what's going on with Biden.
they describe as the real crimes of the so-called, again, their words, Biden crime family here, saying that this all comes down to November 5th. That, of course, is Election Day. We have also heard from the Republican head of the Oversight Committee in Congress, Congressman Comer, who says that while this is an important step, essentially, it still does not go far enough. And that seems to be so far the theme based on even my phone conversations with some Republican strategists in the last maybe hour since we last spoke when this conviction came in here, Lester. I would say a couple of things here. First of all, there is a world in which for perhaps some persuadable voters, when former President Trump rails against the weaponization of the Justice Department against him, there could be an argument, right, that somebody could make to themselves that Hunter Biden, the president's son, was just convicted by that same Justice Department here on felony counts. The other side of the coin here is that for Democrats railing against a convicted felon, as
Whoa,
they describe him,
whoa.
former
Whoa, I gotta stop here. So we had a dude, this is Cedar Park. Cedar Park was a far leftist for over 30 years. His only tattoo was a 1973 tattoo to celebrate Roe v. Wade. I was represented in court by the ACLU for my animals rights activists. This year, I'm voting Trump for my first ever Republican vote. Holy hell. Now, why? What motivates I would call you an activist, you probably at the activist level. What would motivate you to do that, to actually vote Trump this year? What was it about this year that finally convinced you that the Democratic Party wasn't where it was at, especially, you being a staunch, leftist as you were? What happened there? Stoudman is saying it's cap. I got a tattoo celebrating Roe v. Wade, so now I'm going to vote for the guy who overturned it. Well, Stoudman, number one, the guy didn't overturn it. Trump did not overturn Roe v. Wade. And number two, it was Republican Supreme Court justices who got us Roe v. Wade. So I don't see how that's a very good argument, Stout. My Libertarian Party nominated someone I cannot vote for. Biden is also a hell no. So that leaves me with RFK or Trump, and I'm back in Arizona, so that means my vote actually matters. Ooh. Dropkick says they're both far too old to run a country. I can't find either of them appealing. What do I do? Well, why don't you vote for someone that you do find appealing? Like, if millions of us were to vote, an alternate party other than Democrat or Republican, I think it would do well. The problem is that everybody's scared. Everybody's scared that the other team is going to, go with the status quo. And then if they vote for a third party, all of us are brainwashed to be convinced that it's just a waste of a vote, because they want us thinking in 4-year increments instead of thinking, over the long term. He elected the SCOTUS, which turned it over. Yeah, and? It's not an argument, it's fact. And? What does that have to do with anything? I mean, there's lots of presidents that elected SCOTUS people that we disagreed with. That doesn't mean that a person wouldn't. I mean, that's just such a ridiculous argument. Like that, like I said, it's the internet. The guy could be lying. I just think it's just a ridiculous thing to say. There's been lots of people that jump ship on Biden. So I mean, are you saying that that's not realistic at all? I don't know. Vin, I woke up 4 years ago. If Trump were to pick Tulsi for VP, I'd probably vote for him. If he picks Rubio or the like, no. Yeah, if he voted for Tulsi, or see, I wouldn't even need Tulsi to be vice president. I actually wouldn't want her to be VP, because that's more of a figurehead role. I would rather her be Secretary of State, and I would love him to give her a mandate that says, get us the hell out of these wars and get these Israelis to stop chopping these people to death every day. Like, if he said, she's going to be my Secretary of State, I would seriously consider for about 4 minutes voting for Trump. I really would. I don't believe them, but it is fact that the member of the SCOTUS Trump elected, all of whom, and they wouldn't have done it to overthrow her. But again, it doesn't make any logical sense to say that because a person celebrated Roe v. Wade in the 70s, that automatically means that they would never vote for Trump today, because unlike most people, abortion isn't the most important topic to a lot of these people. It is to me. That's because I value human life. But people have different priorities, like, for example, inflation, etc., etc. So I don't see how that follows. Secretary of State is a better job for Tulsi. Yeah, I agree. Oh my God! If he put Rand or Rand Paul, any of the Pauls in there with Tulsi, it'd be over with. I would tell everybody to vote for him if he did that. I don't think he's going to, but I don't think he But see, it looks to me, Stoudman, that you don't want to believe that people can change like that. It just seems to me that you want to believe certain things about people. You want the world to be as simplistic as you want it to be. And I don't think human beings are as simplistic as you think they are, bro. But again, it's the internet, you know what I'm saying? So I'm the only one on here that's like really exposed to the public. The rest of y'all are completely anonymous. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? I'm just saying it's not insane to me. Like when I'm out there doing the work and I talk to people, you know, people are not as like gung ho about the killing kids thing anymore as you would think, man. Like when I'm on the streets, bro, like people now are like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's really not like that. So feel how you want to feel about it, man. She could use her platform during the campaign to remind people how Hillary used the office to launder money and start wars. I mean, yeah. I mean, that would be a giant kind of like, hey, you remember this? All right, love you, Steve, man. We'll see you around, buddy. I didn't want to believe it because to me it's just another sign that the world has lost its damn mind. Well, I mean, I don't know, Stout. I think that, you know, anybody that is fine with killing children is already like way down the path, right? Like, you know, but it's very ironic to see pro-choice. I mean, I'm glad to see it. It's heartening, but it's interesting when you hear them talk about like Palestinian children, and they'll say things like, "I can't believe like how calloused the pro-Israel side is relative to the death of these kids. These kids are getting blown apart, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, damn, these are the same people that were telling me I was using argument from emotion by describing the second most popular form of abortion in the world. Pretty sure you were one of them, Stab. So I'm glad that when it comes to Palestinian children, like children that you can see, you have some compassion. All I'm saying is just move that a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And then we'll really be, you know, we'll really be out there. Uh-oh, here goes Stoudman. They were living people, though. Sorry, Stoudman. The entire reason you need to abort the baby is because it's alive. That's the entire reason you need that procedure, is because it's alive. Okay? Stoudman, here, let's do a trivia question. What is the only medical procedure in America that is only successful if the patient dies? That's right, abortion. I bet you didn't know that the baby's actually classified as a patient on those forms. Mm-hmm. I mean, what does it matter what you believe? I believe abortion should be permitted up until a point when pain can be felt. Listen, a lot of those kids, if you're at ground zero for one of these drone strikes, you didn't feel a thing. Or if one of these snipers hits you with a, you know, right underneath your ear, or right underneath your right ear, that you won't feel it. You won't even hear anything. So I guess as long as a person doesn't feel pain as we're killing them, it's okay. You're not being consistent with your worldview. And in this position, I'm happy that you're being inconsistent, because that means that that's a voice where you're fighting for life, and I appreciate it. But just like how you don't see babies in the womb as human as you, these people don't see Palestinian children as human as you. And that's why it's so easy for them to dispense with the bodies and souls of these Palestinian children, and why it's so easy for you to negotiate which type of kids you're willing to kill and which type of kids you're not willing to kill. SubhanAllah. Capital punishment is a medical Whoo! Capital punishment is a medical procedure. Okay, so we've got two instances in America where the medical procedure is only successful if the patient dies. Capital punishment and abortion. Subhanallah. God help us. God help us. Yep. It's amazing who we will dehumanize when it suits our narrative. 100,000% correct. 100% correct. It's unbelievable. And then the nerve of us to point at other people and say, look at them, they don't humanize Palestinian children, all the while you're out here advocating for the death of American children. God help us, man. Unbelievable. That does give me something to think about, to be honest. You make a good point with your comparison there. Look, Stout, I don't think that I think most of us want the same things. Right? Most of us want the same things. I think if you sat down with a Republican, you said, look, man, these people out here are getting worked as far as, their medical bills and all that goes. What if we just extended Medicare just a little bit? I think a lot of these Republicans that are trying socialism, blah, 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 if you did the nuts and bolts with them, they would have supported Bernie like crazy. They would have. But we were not given the opportunity to vote for Bernie because, what the DNC, you know how the DNC gets down. And Bernie, politics is not the arena for you to be Christ-like in. It's not a Christ-like arena. And Bernie, I don't know if it runs in the family because he's Jewish. He was just way too Christ-like with these people. Way too forgiving. Way too non-confrontational. Jesus came specifically to die. Bernie came to get elected. So you can't comport yourself like Jesus with these people. That's exactly what he did. It's too nice to them people, man. These are snakes we're dealing with. He went out there and campaigned for Hillary more than Hillary campaigned for Barack, and then they turned around. What did they say to him, Stout? They turned around and made him the reason that she lost. Allahu Akbar. And the DNC also had conservatives thinking he was a commie. Yeah, they had the guy from I forgot what his name was. He ended up getting fired because he called the Bernie Sanders people brown shirts or whatever. But yeah, they completely went crazy on him. They went completely crazy on my man. Bernie had no chance. And that was the difference because Trump, they're like, listen, if we take this from you, you're going to fall in line and tell them to, encourage your folks to vote Republican. He said, hell no. He said, no, I'm not doing that. If y'all take this from me, we're going to war. Bernie, on the other hand, was like, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Come on, bro. Come on now. Bernie knows he would never be president. I don't think Bernie knew he would never be president in 2016. I thought Bernie thought he had a really good chance. He had Killer Mike. They were in really, really good shape. They were in really good shape. Especially in 2016. 2018, 2020 was a little bit different because Obama got involved. I would say 2020 he didn't have a chance, but I would say 2016 he was a front runner. And if he would have comported himself like Trump comported himself and told the Democrats, hell no, we're going to stage a massive walkout. I'm going to encourage all my people to stay with me and not go Hillary Clinton. Then they would have had to think a little bit more about what they were going to do. But Bernie was too Christ-like, man. We needed a Donald Trump type character as far as like constitution and disposition on the left to be able to push this thing through. Because feel how you want to feel about Trump, but you see what's happening with him, right? You see what happened when he went after the machine, right? This man had his own party start a Never Trump campaign while he was campaigning. While he was the front runner, his own party started a Never Trump campaign. That tells you this man is truly an outsider. Feel how you want to feel about him, but the man is truly an outsider relative to this stuff. And Bernie didn't have the kind of constitution to do that on the left side. But if he would have done that, it would have been head-to-head Bernie versus Trump, and I truly believe Bernie would have came out the victor in that situation. But he didn't have that he didn't have that inside of him. He just didn't have it inside of him. And, you know, it kind of makes you rethink what virtues are and what they're not, because him being so nice to everybody cost people their lives, literally, because this Medicare for all shit, to me, was the second most pro-life cause that you could have. Abortion being one, Medicare for all right under there, and, you know, our pension for war. The thing is, though, if you spent all that money on health care, then it wouldn't be as easy to go to war. And then the incentives, like, oh, you'll get insurance, etc., VA, college. A lot of people are signing up for the military, not because they like to fight or whatever, it's because they're in a horrible financial situation. So if you put people in a situation where their Medicare costs, their medical costs, and their educational costs are not, you know, there's not a gun to your head for that, then you're going to be less likely to have a crop of people that voluntarily join the military. You're not talking to a person who hates the military. Anybody that knows me knows I got deep love, affection, and respect for the military. But there's a difference between somebody who would sign up because they want to fight, or they got pissed off because they saw, you know, people jumping off buildings at 9/11. There's a difference between that guy. People like that are gonna find a way to fight regardless. I'm talking about your average Joe who's just trying to get through life, and they don't have anything to their name, and signing this contract with the United States military is going to get them to where they need to be. Feel how you want to feel about it, but it's a fact. And if those people did not have these situations, we'd see how much of a voluntary force we actually had since Vietnam. You see what I'm saying? Like as long as people are hampered with these crazy debts on the Medicare side and the education side, you're always going to have a steady stable of people that want to join the military. Occam's razor: which president called out the system the most and got out of line the most? Which president has been gone after the most? Media, impeachment, and indictment. Don't have to like him. Connect the dots. Yeah, it's clear. Like, it's clear that this dude is obviously doing something that the establishment, quote unquote, whatever that means, he's obviously reading off a script that they did not approve, and they don't like him for it, and they wanted to get him for it. And again, this did not start with Democrats. This started with Republicans. I remind you, these people went on TV and literally started a Never Trump campaign as he was the clear and present forerunner. Show me when that's ever happened in American politics or Western politics in the current age. It's never happened before. It's never happened before. That tells me something's different about dude. I don't care what you say. I'm not saying different is always good. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that tells me one of these jelly beans doesn't belong in the can. That's what it tells me. You agree with Jimmy Dore. Lord have mercy. Well, what's wrong with agreeing with Jimmy Dore? Stoudman, you still mad at Jimmy Dore? I mean, I agree. The dichotomy between pro-choice and pro-abortion is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous dichotomy. It's like saying, I am not pro-killing Palestinians, but I am pro-bombing Palestinians. Nah, bro. Pro-choice means that you are pro the option to kill a human being that has committed no crimes. And if a person thinks that absolves them from the moral ramifications, then you gotta do a little bit more studying. The other question is, why aren't you pro-abortion? If you say, well, I'm not pro-abortion because like it's killing a human being, then how could you then say that you're pro the choice to kill an innocent human being? Like, does saying, oh, I'm gonna allow you to choose to kill these, does that mean that you're now morally like absolved? So like when the Nazis were coming to collect your Jewish neighbors, if you said, look, I'm not pro-Holocaust, but you know, I'm pro the government gets to choose whether or not they kill Jews. Huh? That don't work. Unfortunately or fortunately, with a topic like abortion, it's a very black and white topic. Do you believe that all human beings have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Or do you believe that there are classes of human beings there are some human beings that should get these kind of rights and other human beings that should get these other kind of rights? And as long as community A cannot vouch for themselves or advocate for themselves, then it's up to us to decide whether or not these people live or die. If you think that that somehow is going to absolve your conscience, okay. Okay. Jimmy Dore is going to do what he's going to do. None of my business. Pro-choice is not limiting a person to what is essentially a medical procedure. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand how euphemizing the term killing and calling it a medical procedure absolves you of the moral ramifications of what you're supporting. You know, as Applejack just said, Applejack's not even on my side with this, but lethal injection is a medical procedure. You know, like the death penalty in America, like you need an actual physician there to administer those drugs. It's a medical procedure. So we're gonna say like, I'm not. It's not that I'm pro death penalty. You know, it's a medical procedure. All these euphemisms tell me that the people who are supporting abortion know, not at some deep level, but at a very surface level, that it's wrong. And they're trying to use words to try to find some way to deal with the fact that they're supporting something that they're actually really against, because nobody wants to say that they're pro-killing a human being. If a person is pregnant and has issues medically or whatever, and her doctor decide it's best to terminate it, who else has a right to determine she cannot? Terminate it? What do you mean terminate it? You mean the human being in her womb? You mean kill? Tell me these medical procedures that make killing a child necessary. Secondly, Jesse, as I've stated in many times, as early as the 1840s, abortion was available in the instances of life of the mother. It was completely non-controversial, and it has always been non-controversial. The vast majority of abortions are what they call therapeutic or convenience abortions. I am going to college and this kid is going to fuck it up. I am going to law school and this kid's going to screw it up. I already have 2 kids and this 3rd kid's going to screw it up. That's where the majority of abortions are coming from. So let's just look. If you want to support the practice, look it in the face with no euphemisms. Look it straight in the face with no euphemisms. That's all I'm saying. Jimmy Dore, who supported Tulsi Gabbard, who just signed one of the bombs which was used to kill innocent Gazan children, that Jimmy Dore. Look, man, a lot of us love Tulsi. She, I don't know, I don't understand the whole signing the bombs thing. Like, even if I thought that, I mean, and the other thing about Tulsi is she was a medic. She knows the after effects of those kinds of munitions. She knows what that does to people. And for her to put her name on it, that's crazy. Now, Stout, I don't know you to be a liar. I haven't seen that clip, but I'm going to go and look for that clip. And there's no way to justify that, guys. Like, if she really truly did that shit, she's out for me. She's out for me. I just said about 10 minutes ago that if Trump would have had her as Secretary of State, I would vote for Trump. But if she actually did that, I rescind that. I was wrong, completely wrong. So, Stout, get me that information, bro, because that's important. Holy hell, unbelievable. For all the people on the planet, that's like the worst. How could you do that when you were a medic? And look, medics in the field, especially around the time that Tulsi was around, didn't just help Americans. A lot of the times, those medics were helping women and children and men who were collaterally damaged, say it that way. So that's crazy to me that she would do that. For most, terminating a pregnancy is not an easy choice, but it's a choice nonetheless. Yeah, Jesse, I could say the exact same thing about infanticide. You think a woman driven to whatever mania it is that she's driven to would strangle her own newborn child? You think that was an easy decision? Again, you keep using words like terminate and things like that, right? Nobody terminates a pregnancy. That's not terminating a pregnancy is not what happens in abortion. For example, childbirth terminated my wife's last pregnancy. She was no longer in a pregnant state because she bore the child. So childbirth terminates pregnancy. The fact that you guys keep having to use euphemisms over and over and over again tells me that you know that what you're supporting is horrible and inhumane. And that's why you keep having to use euphemisms like terminate a pregnancy. Abortion is not terminating a pregnancy, it's killing a human child. Now, if you support killing human children for any circumstance, go for it. Just say it. Tell us. We'll still love you. You'll still be our friend. But don't try to use the phrases like terminate a pregnancy. You listen. This is the most intelligent corner of the internet. The people in the comment section are the most intelligent people on the face of the internet. So it's not gonna work over here, bro. We'll still love you though. We'll still love you. You know what I'm saying? I know Nikki Haley signed bombs. Didn't know that about Tulsi. Also, Jimmy Dore has attacked Tulsi for being pro-Israel. I still think you can be pro-Israel and not be pro-genocide. But I'm sorry, man. Tulsi has too much experience in the field to get a pass for doing that shit. Especially considering what her MOS was. So, nah, I can't. If she truly did that, I'm out on her. Like, period. I'm out. Now here's Jesse. Jesse. The Old Testament did not consider a fetus a human. Really? Where is that passage? Show me in the Bible where God didn't consider an Old Testament fetus a human. What do you mean by fetus, by the way? You mean the baby? The baby inside the mom? When did you start speaking Latin, by the way? You know what's really funny? When a pregnancy happens and the people are all excited, you say, "Oh, how's the baby?" You know, after like your first visit, and you say, "How's the baby?" And everybody says, "Oh, you know, baby's doing great." Blah blah. Nobody says, "Oh, wait a second here. We're talking." The only time the term fetus gets bandied about is when we're about to kill him. Isn't that interesting? They had an abortion, miscarriage, inducing drugs. Also, an eye for an eye did not apply to the baby. It was only killed monetary only. Really? Jesse, do me a favor. Do me a favor, Jesse. Get me that passage about the abortion inducing drugs. Jesse, let me ask you a question. If I can demonstrate to you clearly that the Bible does not say that a child in the womb is not human, and the Bible does not prescribe abortion-inducing drugs, will you then change your position? Will you change your position if it's demonstrated that you were wrong? That's all I'm asking you. Yeah. God is gracious and we are former fetuses. Okay? So listen, everybody start speaking Latin when we're about to kill somebody. No, the Bible doesn't say a lot of things, actually. No. Okay. So you're not going to change your mind. Okay, so that was in Numbers chapter 5, and there was no abortion-inducing drug in Numbers chapter 5 in any way, shape, or form. You have no idea what you're talking about. Cenk Uygur, every so often when he starts talking about this topic, will embarrass himself. He'll say, Christians don't even know that God co-signed abortion. He told the women to get an abortion, blah, 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 blah. No, that is not what Numbers 5 is saying. Okay? I am very, very familiar with this. Pro-abortion people try to use this passage millions of times, and you don't even have to be a Bible that is not what's going on in the text in any way, shape, or form. Okay? So, Vin, you know getting people to change their position is more difficult than that. No, it's not, Stout. You said that Tulsi signed one of those bombs, for the Israelis. As soon as you said that, I said, well, shit, if she did that, I'm out on her forever, right? Then you heard that that it was not necessarily the case that that's what happened, and you immediately said I was wrong. So any honest interlocutor will go with what the facts say. Facts will change their minds. If you're dishonest, facts won't change your mind, right? So you didn't keep pounding, no, she really did sign the bomb. You didn't keep pounding that because you were wrong. And I didn't keep saying, well, I still support Tulsi, even though she did all that, because I was wrong, if you were right about it. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. Okay, so look, you brought up the Bible. I didn't bring up the Bible, okay? So we're gonna go to Numbers chapter 5, okay? And then we're gonna see if the Bible says what you said that it says. And I for my part, I'm not even gonna give a giant exegesis here, okay? I'm gonna copy and paste the text, and then we can talk about it. But one thing I will tell you, if you're talking about a topic, especially if we're talking about the lives of people, we need to be completely accurate. Okay? We need to be completely and totally accurate when we're talking about the lives of people. All right? I think that that's fair. I think that that's fair. Okay. So here we go. Here's the passage. Okay. And I'm gonna read the entire thing. Okay. And then we'll see if that is what. We're gonna deal with Exodus in a second, Jesse. The first one you brought up was the test for adultery. That was an abortion-inducing concoction, is what you said. So we're gonna deal with that first. Okay. Then we'll deal with the other one. Unbelievable. Here we go. This is Numbers chapter 5. This stream got crazy. No, Jesse, you said that the text gave an auction. That's what you said. So we're going to deal with that first, okay? Then after that, we will deal with Exodus, okay? Because you brought up Numbers chapter 5 first. Unbelievable. Look, any truth-minded person is going to be convinced of the truth, right? You were wrong about Tulsi. You said you were wrong. I was wrong about Tulsi. I said I was wrong. I mean, you've seen me. I've shot whole videos pointing out where I've been wrong, right? So I'm just going to assume about people that they're honest. And if you're an honest person and you say something wrong, then you change your position. It's that simple. Here we go. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the people of Israel. If any man's wife goes astray and breaks faith with him, if a man lies with her sexually, it's hidden from the eyes of her husband, and she is undetected, though she has defiled herself, and there is no witness against her, she was not taken in the act. And if the spirit of jealousy comes over him, and he is jealous of his wife, who has defiled herself, or if the spirit of jealousy comes over him, and he is jealous of his wife, though she has not defiled herself, then the man shall bring his wife to the priest and bring the offering required of her, a tenth of an ephah of barley flour. He shall pour no oil on it, put no frankincense on it, for it is a grain offering of jealousy, a grain of offering of remembrance, bringing iniquity to the remembrance." Dear listener, what's happening here is, what do you do if you suspect that your wife committed adultery, but you have no proof? Biblically speaking, if you don't have proof for a capital crime, you need 2 or 3 witnesses for a capital crime to be established, and adultery was a capital crime. So this girl is slick. She's using Facebook, she's doing whatever, yada, yada, yada. But you think that she's running out on you. Well, what do? Well, I don't know, guys. Read Hammurabi's Code, okay? It did not go well for women in the ancient world when men suspected them of adultery, because the ancient world functioned on a shame-honor perspective. to the point where people would die before being shamed publicly, especially in the sexual arena. It still happens in African and Middle Eastern countries. They call it honor killing. That is not an Islamic prescription. Muhammad never commanded honor killing. Blah. That's just Eastern culture. We continue. So what do you do when you have a woman who is being accused of adultery? What comes out here is hold on. Let me hear what Jesse has to say. That's a bit extreme. Won't you agree? Convenient to get rid of a woman you get tired of by saying she's unfaithful. Jesse, you don't know what you're talking about. Let the text finish before you say something, because it's obvious to me that you were not familiar with Numbers 5, because I don't believe that you just come out here and lie. I think you heard from somebody that Numbers 5 said X, Y, Z, but I don't think you would lie. Now, please let me finish, Jesse. In the ancient world, when you had this going on, how would you defend the woman's honor? So here's what happens. And the priest shall bring her near and set her before the Lord. And the priest shall take the holy water in an earthenware vessel and take some of the dust that is on the floor of the tabernacle and put it in the water. So the ingredients you have here is H2O and some dirt from the floor. That's the concoction. Okay. The priest shall take holy water in an earthenware vessel and take some of the dust that's on the floor of the tabernacle, put it into the water. And the priest shall set the woman before the Lord and unbind the hair of the woman's head and place in her the hands the grain offerings of remembrance, which is a grain offering of jealousy. And in his hand, the priest shall have the water of bitterness that brings curse. Then the priest shall make her take an oath, saying, if no man has lain with you, and if you have not turned aside to uncleanness while you are under your husband's authority, be free from this water of bitterness that brings the curse. But if you have gone astray, though you are under your husband's authority, and if you have defiled yourself and some other man other than your husband has lain with you, then let the priest make the woman take the oath of the curse and say to the woman, the Lord will make you a curse and an oath among your people when the Lord makes your thigh fall away and your body swell. Please note that the term thigh here, I'll show you the original Greek, is a euphemism for the reproductive organ in both the woman and the man. So like, for example, when Abraham was telling his servant, he says, you need to find a wife for my son Isaac. And then it said Abraham took his servant's hand and put it on his thigh. It was his junk, okay? Yuck. Okay. So it says, the Lord make you a curse among your people. When the Lord makes your thigh fall away and your body swell, may this water that brings curse on you pass into your bowels and make your womb swell and your thigh fall away. And the woman shall say, amen. Now watch this. Watch. So it's God who kills the baby. Got it? No, there's no baby mentioned here yet, my brother. There's no baby mentioned here. We're just talking about her reproductive organs. Then the priest shall write these curses in a book and wash them off into the water of bitterness, and he shall make the woman drink the water of bitterness that brings a curse, and the water that brings a curse shall enter her and cause her bitter pain, and the priest shall take the grain offering of jealousy out of the woman's hand and shall wave the grain offering before the Lord to the altar, and the priest shall take a handful of the grain offering as it's a memorial portion and burn it on the altar. Afterwards the woman shall drink the water, and when he has made her drink the water, then if she has defiled herself and has broken faith with her husband, the water that brings the curse shall enter her and cause her bitter pain, and her womb shall swell and her thigh shall fall away, and the woman shall become a curse among her people. So if you were unfaithful, your womb will swell, your thigh, your vagina will fall away, meaning you will not be able to reproduce. How do we know? Look at the next verse. But if the woman has not defiled herself and is clean, she shall be free and shall conceive children. This is the first time that a child is mentioned here. My brother, the curse in Numbers 5 is clearly the inability to have children. It is not a miscarriage. It is not an abortion. The woman is not pregnant in this passage at all. Whether she's innocent or guilty, she is not pregnant here. What's being discussed here is her ability to reproduce, because women in the ancient world loved their children and they wanted to have children, and it was a sense of honor to be able to have children, and it was a shame and a disgrace if you were not able to have children. There is nothing in this text that says the woman was pregnant before. The text tells us very, very easily in verse 28, if the woman hasn't defiled herself and she is clean, she shall be free and shall conceive children. The curse is about being able to conceive children. It is not about aborting a living child. Now, if you have another passage where there's another concoction where a woman loses a baby, please send it to us. But that's not what's happening in Numbers chapter 5. Okay? So you were wrong about that. That's untrue. Now you can reverse what you said because the Bible doesn't say what you wanted it to say. They also died often in childbirth. Why are you changing the subject? Yes, we know in the ancient world, women died in childbirth. Bless God that we had Christianity influencing the world. And so we have hospitals and things like that all over the world now. But what does that have to do with the fact that you said that the Bible gave a concoction for abortion when that wasn't the case? What the Bible does is very elegantly creates a situation where, especially to an unbeliever, the woman is always going to come out on top. Because all that's in the concoction is some dirt on the ground and some water, and she drinks it, and most of us are unbelievers. We're like, she's going to be fine because it's just water and dirt. So this is actually a moment in the ancient world where if you're an unbeliever, Moses came up with this really brilliant way of saying, hey, your wife didn't do that. That's pretty brilliant. It's a pretty brilliant way to support her. But aside from all of that, you were just wrong. The Bible doesn't say what you said that it said. The Bible says that the curse here is the ability or the lack thereof to conceive children. If she is guilty of cheating on her husband, then the idea is she will never be able to be pregnant, and then the entire society will look at her and say, you really was running out on dude, but we can't kill you because the law says 2 or 3 witnesses. But in 9 times out of 10 of those situations, those women aren't doing none of that dumb shit. It's just dudes getting a feeling and all the rest of it. And so there's this nice little procedure that they have. And keep in mind, the man has to offer an offering to Yahweh on her behalf.
What? Why are you saying this is worse than an abortion?
Now here's Jesse. That's worse than abortion, don't you think? Listen, Jesse, none of that is relevant. What's relevant is you made a statement and you were wrong. So you should correct yourself. You tried to use the Bible to justify the horrific practice of abortion. I'm not going to let you get away with it. You shouldn't have said that stuff. You were wrong. You were wrong. Okay, so look. No, you're not being a little. Look how beautiful my wife is. My God.
Thanks, dude.
You're not being a little shit. It's fine. It's fine. Stout and I have been boys for years. Okay? And look, we could be boys too, Jesse Dorsett II. We could be boys too. It's just, I love Jesus. I don't like people trash talking him. You see what I'm saying? My God is the author of life. L'chaim is what the Jews say. To life. Okay? So no, the Bible does not co-sign that. That passage is actually an elegant design to save women from being abused by jealous men. Because in the ancient world, look, man, Hammurabi gets a lot of credit for being a good dude or whatever. But we're talking about pulling women's hair out, spitting in their face, slapping them in their face in public, all types of horrible shit that men were allowed to do to women if they even suspected that their women were going out of line.
Oh my gosh.
And this was an ancient world way of saying, hey, number one, you have to do a sacrifice for your wife, okay? Which is to say, hey, let's get this right here. We're not going to kill this woman. Regardless, we're not going to kill this woman. So you have to make a sacrifice for her because if she did this thing, then she sinned against God and she needs a sacrifice. The man is being taught to prioritize the spiritual condition of his wife above his reputation in the community. That's what's going on in the first part of that passage when it says you have to offer it, but you can't put frankincense on it because it's jealousy. Okay, so God's like, I don't want a celebration happening here because we're dealing with a serious moment. And if your wife is guilty, then she needs atonement. But if she's innocent, then you need the atonement. So a sacrifice has to be made.
Wow.
Yeah. So you took a passage that's designed to protect the lives of women and give them a shot in the ancient world of surviving, even if they made a mistake. You took that beautiful passage and you turned it around to something to celebrate abortion, astaghfirullah, as the Muslims say.
Jesse, what are you talking about? Women were property? You still believe that? No, first of all, the Bible, it was an ancient Near Eastern text, but it was way beyond its time because from the beginning...
Give me 1 second, babe. Here he goes again. They stoned women who were allegedly unfaithful. Jesse, you're wrong. The text literally states, that there was no witnesses there, so the allegedly doesn't work. She was not going to get stoned to death because there were no witnesses to the crime. The text literally addresses that. Jesse, now you've revealed yourself as somebody who's not an honest actor. Because you use this passage to try to justify killing babies, and the minute that you saw that it didn't do that, that it was actually designed to protect the woman, you're now trying to shift the goalposts so that we all get distracted from the fact that you tried to justify child killing by using Numbers 5. You were wrong. Tell everybody you were wrong and then move on. That's all you have to do. Everybody's wrong sometimes, bro. Everybody's wrong. Okay? I'm not omniscient. She'll tell you. I was wrong 58 times today. It's okay to be wrong, man. It's not okay to continue to pound shit like you're not wrong. Be an honest interlocutor. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The Bible is an ancient Near Eastern text, and generally speaking, in those parts, people, women were treated very poorly as property, treated all kinds of horrible ways. The Bible was a text that didn't fit its time, because from the Genesis, in the book of Genesis, it says that women were made in the image and likeness of God, just the same as men were. There was no distinction made. Both of them were made to rule the earth. So no, women were not treated as property. In fact, Moses was told to give women property when they came and they asked for it, because they were not property. But again, it was against the time. Like, it wasn't customary for women to have property of their own. But when these girls came and they brought a case to Moses, who was basically the leader of the people. God told them, yeah, give them their property.
He said, I don't know what to do here because you guys are girls, but they had them dead to rights. Mm-hmm. And so Moses said, all right, I'm going to go pray. And then Yahweh shows them and says, no, the girls are right. Give them their property. The daughters of Zelophehad, right?
I couldn't remember what their names were, but yeah. Yep.
Sorry. I'm sorry, bro. Like, literally the first book of the Bible, the first page of the Bible says that women are image bearers of God just as men are image bearers of God. Okay?
There is no distinction.
We can't even get modern men to treat women equivalently, much less in the ancient world. Stop. You don't know the book or the God that you're talking about. But you should get to know him. I invite you to get to know him. That way you don't come on YouTube, say all types of weird shit that doesn't comport to reality.
I mean, it's okay to be wrong. I mean, all of us find ourselves being wrong. It's like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, like, if somebody gets head lice, they'll be like, there ain't no shame in getting it, only shame's in keeping it. Like, it's the same thing with being wrong. Like, there's no shame in being wrong. The only shame is when you can't admit it, and then you just keep throwing other things in there to distract from the fact that you were wrong. I mean, just out and out say that you were wrong and then move past it, You know
what's really interesting to me? Jesse believes that people should still be able to tear their babies apart alive in the womb, even though they've done nothing. But then in the same breath, he says that the Old Testament is brutal for stoning adulterers. Let me tell you something. I would much rather die by stoning than the way that a DNC abortion is done.
Jeez.
I mean, they were taking giant millstones. It was pretty quick. It wasn't little rocks, okay? But regardless, you believe that we should be able to disassemble babies alive in the womb, bro. And they've done nothing. No
anesthesia, nothing.
They've done nothing.
Yeah.
The only crime this child has committed is existing. People should still have that choice, but the Old Testament is brutal.
Bro, I don't know if you've ever seen an abortion on an ultrasound.
Jesus.
But if you haven't, you probably should take the time to look into that, because it is horrific. The babies will push away from it and their little mouths start to cry. Like, it's bad. And that's just ultrasound. It's all grainy. You can't really see a whole lot. I mean, I saw that back. I mean, that was friggin' years ago. It's got to be clearer now. But yeah, I mean, that's... Regardless, even if it was a painless process, what are we doing? And I definitely, like, when I had a miscarriage, and then it took a long time before I had another child. And when I finally got that next baby, after it had been so long, anytime that I told Americans that story or that situation, they'd be like, oh, that's cool. That's nice. I said it twice to Islamic women, Muslim women, and they like celebrated with me like I was their daughter who had a baby. It was unbelievable. And they like got emotional. Like, you could tell like the value of human life. coming from their context, it's totally different. Us Americans, things have changed. Like, kids are disposable. Kids are like, they're add-ons to people's lives.
And
they're
that-
like, let's do all this stuff.
Ameri-
Let's get a kid now.
Man, listen, Americans can hear that their government just firebombed the whole farm full of pine nut farmers in Afghanistan. They can hear that and go, man, I don't know, and then go along with their day and forget it.
Yeah.
We're bloody, bloody people, man. So listen, I had somebody say like, hey, you've got strong evidence for abortion. Doesn't convince me. Man, abortion is not about convincing anybody, man. Abortion is where your heart is. That's all. It's a heart issue. It's a heart issue. Period. End of story. Listen, I don't have to tell all you people that killing babies is wrong. You know killing babies is wrong. That's why he can't even come out and say what he's doing. He's talking about terminating a pregnancy, blah. That's why they have to come out with, that's why they start speaking Latin.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, my patella, I broke my patella. Nobody says that. Unless you're in law school or med school, you broke your knee, bro. You broke your kneecap. That's your patella.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody says anything about no patella.
Mm-hmm.
And she's pregnant. We're going to the ultrasound. He said, how is the baby? Baby's doing good. That never changed. First ultrasound, he was like, what was he like? Was he like 5, 6, 7 weeks old?
Yeah.
He was just a little circle. Nobody said, how's your little blastocyst doing?
You know when they started using that language? When I was going to have the miscarriage, they stopped calling it a baby because they wanted to
Mercy.
help me in that moment.
It was
and
mercy.
not say baby, but instead,
Right.
say.
Right.
I don't even think the word they used was fetus. I think it was something else.
You never know what someone is going through. Could be rape. Incest states are restricting all abortions. It's not right. Well, what is the baby going through? And what crime has the baby committed so that he gets the death penalty because his dad was a rapist? Jesse.
And secondly, Jesse, I've talked to a lot of women that have gone through with the pregnancy and kept their baby, and all of the ones that I've spoken to personally have told me that child is their saving grace from that evil night.
And we talked about this in our Handmaid's Tale review. Handmaid's Tale is the most ironic show I've ever seen in my life, because on the one hand, it's this horrible dystopian future where women are being systematically farmed and assaulted because we're trying to increase the birth rate. What's interesting, though, in that show, every single one of those children are deeply loved by the mother and is the reason the mother decides that she's going to keep living. So this is written from their perspective. And the only thing that keeps these women going are their assault babies. Jesse, here we go. See, this is how I know that Jesse's, you're struggling, bro. I know you're struggling. It's a potential life. That's what he says. It's a potential life. How the baby is because you have the hope for potential life. No, Jesse, if it was a potential life, then abortion would not be necessary. The reason abortion is, quote, necessary is because it's an active life, and we need the doctor to stop that child from living.
Potential life is when you have sex and you don't know yet if you're pregnant.
Correct.
There might be a baby here. Once that positive comes by, there's a baby.
I mean, is the doctor doing a potential abortion?
Right.
Wait, what? What? Does that even make sense to you? A potential life? What does that mean, bro? That's completely unscientific. And look, the people that are doing this procedure, they don't lie about it. I got that quote from the doctor. He's like, hell yeah, I'm killing babies. And? That's what he said. Come on, bro.
Yeah, and any time that any group of people appeals to
here
the
we go.
smallest percentage of stuff, it tells you.
It cannot live on its own. Jesse?
Neither can a newborn.
Neither can a newborn. I've had 7 of them. None of them can live on their own. As a matter of fact, the child is more dependent on parental attention outside of the womb than inside of the womb. Inside of the womb, everything is automated. Evolution, natural selection made it so that everything is automated. Okay, we're not going to say that there was a creator, but no, there's no creator. It was just all ran. Okay, that's fine. In the womb, everything is automated. The child's going to eat. It's going to sleep. It's going to be protected from the element. The minute that child is outside, it needs a lot of attention. So a child actually needs more parental attention outside the womb than inside the womb.
Secondly, we have a lot of old people that can't live on their own. That's why we have nursing homes. Should those all be killed as well?
Yeah, Joe Biden just says, I can't live on my own. Do I deserve to die, man? But you know what? That's where we're going. Go over to Canada. Go over to Canada, and right now, there was a story, I was too heartbroken to talk about it, but this is, and I told you guys this is where we were going. In Canada, there was this dude, he had drug addiction issues, other things, and he had major depression, and they told him, do you want the MAID option? The MAID option is where they kill you. That's where we're going. Viability outside of the womb, don't get it twisted. Again, Jesse, all of your arguments just continue, just die on the vine. What is viability outside of the womb? What does that have to do with anything? You're saying that you are saying that there are classes of human beings that do not have the right to living. And if they don't have the right to living, they don't have any other rights, because all of your rights flow from the right to be alive. So you have a tiered justice system. You know, like a couple hundred years ago, people like me, we were not completely like as human as white people. So now you're just taking the racial thing and saying, well, it's ridiculous. All of us are equal human beings. But now you're saying, well, if you're a certain age, you're not as human as the rest of us. Sorry, man. I think once you're a human being, you're on the team. That's what I think. I think red, yellow, black, white, however old, however young, your life is valuable, and society should do everything we can to preserve your life because you are an image bearer of God, crowned with glory and honor, even though you would deny that right to everybody else. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But y'all are crazy if you think that you can continue to feed the culture of death and think that wolf is not going to consume you. All you pro-choicers, all you compassionate pro-choicers, you wait till you're 65, 75 years old and you can no longer contribute to a society with people with your mentality. And you'll have to remember that it was your arguments that opened the door for your own murder when they start that shit with y'all. Mm-hmm. And you know what's funny? The only people that are going to be advocating for you outside of those clinics are going to be the same people that were advocating the people that you were signing off to murder. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Our children who have watched us, fight for life their entire lives.
This is like a script. Developing human is not a fully formed human. Jesse, you are not a completely and fully developed human until you turn 26 years old, my boy. That's the reason that these the anti-trans people are saying you even if you're an adult, you shouldn't be able to have gender-affirming care until you're 26 because your cerebral cortex, the decision-making mechanism in your brain, doesn't completely mature until you're 26. So you're not a full human until you're 26. So you're open for killing from conception to 26 based on that logic.
I mean, secondly, people could start saying, well, hold on a second, Jesse. How old are you? How much have you accomplished in your life? You're likely not going to accomplish much more than you already have.
Right.
So you're sort of a waste. These developing fetuses, though, they have all the potential in the world. We have no clue what they're going to be, a doctor or whatever.
Right.
It's already clear and obvious what
it's already clear, yeah.
But our doctrine says, no, you're made in the image and likeness of God. You have value apart from whatever it is that you do or bring into society. But your doctrine, what you follow, that's craziness.
You don't believe that all humans are equal. Mm-hmm. You believe that there's some humans that have the authority to dictate the lives of other humans because they're not as human as us. Now, I'm sensitive to that because that was used against my people in this country. You probably don't have that in your history, so it's probably easier for you to say that shit and not really realize what you're talking about. But this is not the first time this has happened in American or human history. Okay? So, look, bro, the reason that we could just destroy all, because we've heard them a million times. We've heard them a million times. Abortion is an unjustifiable act of murder. That's what it is. Unless it's life of the mother, which is 0.000000001%. This is an act of clear and present premeditated murder with malice aforethought. And if you contributed in any way to an abortion, then yeah, you're guilty under the eyes of God and your own conscience, and all I have for you is a crucified and risen Jesus, my man. I got my own sins to deal with. I don't have time to judge you and your stuff, but I will tell you, if you participated in any way in abortion, the only way to clear your conscience is not to come up with all these weird, silly, unscientific, irrational, unbiblical excuses. It's to own your shit and get before your creator and repent.
Yeah.
Like all of us have to do.
I mean, the other thing too is part of repentance is stopping what you're doing and turning the thing around. So if you did that in your past and you just bear down on it and you keep talking about it like it's okay, then what you're doing is you're helping other people justify their bad actions. So if somebody comes in and they're like already thinking about doing it, but they're kind of like, meh, your comments could push them in that direction. So now you have more blood on your hands. So if you realize you're wrong, the best thing that you can do is start advocating against it, speaking out against it, doing everything that you can to try to help prevent that from happening to other people. Help get these bad mindsets, these unjustifiable justifications that people make so they can do the things that they want to do in their heart that is completely wrong. Like when you recognize that you're wrong, turn that shit around. Do something positive for it. Don't keep bearing down on it. And honestly, saying things that are just absolutely ignorant. Like this is a child. This is a human being. And then you're saying, well, it's not human. It's not, all these justifications that just don't even, and I say ignorant in the technical sense. Like, I mean, come on, this.
Here's a quote. I almost want to play that game. Who said this? So I'm going to play this game. Who says this? This is about birth control. Okay. This is about birth control. And the question is asked, is it an abortion? The answer is definitely not. An abortion requires an operation. It kills the life of a baby after it has begun. It is dangerous to your life and health. It may make you sterile so that when you want a child, you cannot have it. Birth control merely postpones the beginning of life. You know who said that? You know whose organization that was? That was Margaret Sanger's Planned Parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
Margaret Sanger, her big thing was birth control. Let's get this birth control. We won't need to kill your baby like what their crazy people are doing over there in China. Okay? That was them. This was way, way back. This was way back. Roe v. Wade, blah, 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 blah. Right there. That's them. Notice they called it a baby and they used the term kill.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say abortion is killing babies, that's not pro-choice rhetoric. That's just plain fact. And Margaret Sanger agrees with me. You're just wrong, bro. Just stop. It's okay to be wrong. But you're wrong. You got Margaret Sanger over here saying it's killing a baby. That's what abortion does. Or if you don't want to repent, that's cool. Here you go. Here's the actual little the little article, the little thingy where it came from. Plan your children for health and happiness. There you go. Little African American fella at the bottom. You can tell with the fro. And so it's talking about family planning and birth control and whatever. And they have frequently asked questions. And one of the frequently asked questions was, is it an abortion? They said, no, we don't do abortions. Abortions will kill your baby. And you also notice how they told those women about the residual health risks, like you might be sterile, et cetera, which is still a problem for post-abortive women.
Also, it's more of a problem the younger that the girl is. And in most cases, when there's like incest or something like that, like people are like, oh my God, obviously incest is disgusting and horrible and a child should never have to go through such a thing. But to put that child on the operation table and to abort the baby inside of her womb puts her at more risks for the rest of her life. And including in that moment, her risk of not surviving that abortion is higher because she's younger and she's smaller. So the safest option for that girl is to go through with the pregnancy. No, she doesn't have to keep that baby. She can put the baby for adoption, or she can choose to keep the baby if she wants to keep the baby, with hopefully a ton of help from the people around her. And whoever the person is that did that to her should, a lot of the reasons that abortion was brought about because of all this that was going on is because people wanted to hide what they were doing. So when incestuous things were happening, instead of it getting reported, the girl was ushered in, abort the baby, and move this thing along. So a lot of rapes have gotten pushed underneath the carpet and under the rug because people were not held accountable because we had abortion clinics.
Yeah.
Look at that weird pause.
Well, people need to know. People need to know. Isn't that Singer quote wrong? Doesn't she? Can we get the AC?
Yep.
That's the problem. This guy's overheating. He's overheating. Yeah, but Jesse, if you agree, then you're saying that you agree with supporting the killing of children who've committed no crime other than existing. You can't say that and then say you're somehow compassionate or whatever. That don't work. I mean, you just came up here and told like 6 or 7 consecutive, I'll say, inaccurate statements. I'm not going to say that you lied, because I think that you probably thought that those were good arguments. But whoever gave you those arguments, they lied to you. They just did. Best to have safe abortions, or you were responsible. I waited till you came back.
No.
So he says, best to have safe abortions, or you will be responsible for the death of thousands doing illegal and unsafe abortions.
Oh, this one again.
Okay, Jesse, Texas has made it illegal to kill your children for over a year and a half. How many of these? How many deaths have we had in Texas because of these botched abortions? That's again another lie.
Yeah.
Like literally, this is how weak the pro-choice position is. They're all lies.
Secondly, I
Here's
literally
Jesse. Here's
met
Jesse.
women.
He says fact. Okay, get us this data. Get us the data then, Jesse.
I was talking to this lady, and she was like, she was in a really bad relationship. She said that the guy was very abusive. She was having to like hide it from her mother because her mother was seeing the marks on her. What's going on? And she said that she ended up pregnant. And then she said after all of that, she ended up finding out that he had been cheating on her. It was like this really dramatic thing. It was really horrible. And she said, if abortions had still been, she said, I went and they checked the baby. She said, I was too far. I was like a week beyond when they would do still abortions. So she said, I had to go over a couple states. She said, I was unwilling to do it. Now, did she go get a coat hanger? No. She proceeded to go through with that pregnancy because she had no other choice, is what she said. And she was like, I'm so glad she said that baby, like this was just a couple weeks, well, probably 2 months ago. And she was saying that baby, like, she's like, that baby is like my pride and joy. She's like, I can't believe
look at this.
if that law hadn't been there, I would have ended up killing my kid.
Look. 78,000 die. 78,000.
What?
78,000. Okay. Get us this data of these 78,000 botched abortions. Good night.
Oh my word! You know that in states where it's legal, we kill 3,000 babies a day. Where's this number coming from? That's illegal. So all of a sudden they make it illegal, and then even people that want to keep their babies are killing them too.
I'm laughing at you, Jesse.
Come on,
the
Jesse.
reason I'm laughing at you.
You are just bearing down on this.
I didn't laugh at you at the beginning when you said all that inaccurate shit. But now, like, literally every argument you've made has been refuted by science and just plain logic. And you're still out here. You're still out here doing this nonsense. You're lying, okay? Listen, the Miss Wen over there in Planned Parenthood, I promise you, if women were dying, 78,000 women were dying abortions, that would have been all over the
saying for botched abortion. Oh, he's saying when people do it themselves, if the abortion becomes illegal.
No. He's going to provide us this doctor because he just threw out 78,000 there. Okay, so tell us, get us the data. Get me to the website. I'll post it right now on my channel. 78,000 women are dying every year from botched abortions. Let's see it. Unbelievable. Yeah, exactly. Man, how sexist to say that 78,000 women were dumb enough to tear themselves apart to kill their own children. Exactly.
Look at him just using women as fodder for his arguments. You're just lying on women so that way you can bolster your argument that it's okay to kill children. This is unbelievable.
The only time I see
kids, women, everybody.
The only time I see dudes do this is when they participated in
That's what I'm saying. Just repent of it.
They are participated,
and then start speaking out. I mean,
they don't want to admit. They don't want to admit that they killed their own child. So now they're trying to come up with all this stuff.
I mean, some of the greatest advocates that we saw in this field were people that had done that.
See, look at it. First thing I saw, you can sift through various sites. You know what, Jesse? Here's the thing.
Just let us know.
Jesse, here's the thing. There have been 500 million abortions since 1973, okay? There have been 500 million abortions. So 78,000 is bad, but there's 500 million babies a day that are getting aborted. $500 million a day. You want me to justify that, man? Go sift through. I saw the number. Just take my word. Just take my word for it. Just take my word.
Wait, what?
It's 500 million kids dying
That's
a day.
what's happening,
That's
Jesse.
what it's 500 million kids a day. I'm not gonna source it.
Just scroll yourself. Google it.
Just Google it. Now what they always do that. It's incredible.
Oh man.
It's incredible.
Oh my gosh. What is going on?
The fact is, women die about balance. Okay. No, look, Jesse. I'm not laughing at women dying in back alley abortions, please. I'm not even going to compare my resume as to who's done more for women in this room versus you. Because all you've done all day is just lie. You lied about the Bible, you lied about the stats, and you're lying right now. We're laughing at you because you're lying. Jesse, don't you find it odd that almost every argument you use, we already have shit prepared for? It's because I've heard this a million times from y'all.
Yep. Same argument.
You're talking to people who know the information and know the numbers. Why would you come out
you
there?
People say the
We're
same
laughing at you. The scripture says, answer a fool according. The scripture is folly, otherwise he'll be wise in his own eyes.
That's right.
So we're exposing your folly to everybody that's watching this because it's important. We're talking about the lives of children and women.
Mm-hmm.
You're lying. There are not 78,000 dead women because of botched abortions. As Ian said, that's a good argument, Ian. Women are not dumb. They're not dumb. They're not at the place where 78,000 of them are going to be, hey, let's go and just do this. Ridiculous.
Oh, here we go. Now we're getting racist. Here we go.
Now he's getting
racist. All rough.
You see,
saying it like this.
Now, when you bring race into it, bro, now you got a real problem, man. You got a real problem. Jesse, which group is doing the most abortions? Which group of women are killing their babies the most? I'll help you. Per capita, it's black people. You know, in about 15 years, the Latinos are going to overstrip us as far as population. How come? Because we're out here killing our kids at the #1 rate.
What was it, that phrase that Margaret Sanger said about it?
Hold on, I'm going to wait.
Oh.
I'm going to wait for him.
Oh.
Because this is white folks.
Wait, you're waiting for him to say more nonsense.
Yeah, this is white folks. They always pull out the race card at the end.
I know. I said,
the last thing that they have.
There
And
goes.
Jesse, everybody's noticing that you're jumping from point to point to point, and every time your point gets refuted, you just jump to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
So who's doing the most abortions in America, and why is that? Why is that?
Waldo, he might be 50 in his mom's basement, but the fact that he's going so hard and pulling out all these arguments that don't even really count and lying all over the place makes me feel that he probably participated in one of these. Why else would you defend it to this degree?
He is definitely.
So even if he is 50 in his mom's basement,
yeah,
he's probably ended the life of a child, or maybe multiple children. But you should just repent of it. Stop going on like this.
Unbelievable.
But I'll tell you, the scripture talks about a point that God's Spirit will keep warning you. Right now, God's Spirit is still warning you. That's why you're in this chat right now and you're getting this direct contact with us talking about this. Because God is still warning you on this subject. But there comes a point in time where God's Spirit stops warning you and your heart becomes too hard to turn from it. Do not wait. This is the day of salvation. Do not wait. You should turn from your sin. You really should. You really should. You listen to those near-death experiences and all those people that got themselves dragged straight down to hell, they regretted the evil things that they did in their lives. And they said there was no good deed that they could think of, that they could cling to. The only thing that could save them from that time was when they thought to call out to Jesus. You should call out to Jesus while you have the opportunity. The time is now.
Jesse,
stop with this foolishness.
Jesse, have you participated in convincing a young woman to kill her child? I'm about to show you congress.gov. This is a .gov website. Okay? Let's see. Here's congress.gov.
There it is.
Oh, Lord. This is Richard Nixon, among other people. Here we go. A majority of people in Colorado voted for abortion. I think a majority of people in Michigan are for abortion. I think in both cases, well, certainly in Michigan, they will vote for it, abortion, because they think that's what's going to get aborted are the little black bastards. As I told you, we talked about it earlier, that a hell of a lot of people want to control the Negro bastards. You know what we're talking about, population control. We're talking really, and what John Rockefeller really realizes, look, the people in what we call our class control population, sometimes they'll have a family 6, 7, 8, or 9. That was 1972. Only a few sentiments Nixon expressed in 1972 exposing the genesis of his thinking when he announced the conclusions and recommendations of the 1969 Population Control Commission headed by John D. Rockefeller. It was the spirit of these sentiments that Cecile Richard, president of the Planned Parenthood Federation, invited the Republican Party to return to its family planning roots. Okay? So here you are trying to bring out the black card, when abortion has been the #1 tool of destruction of my community since 1973. When these people are setting up Planned Parenthoods within miles of black neighborhoods and schools and shit, in walking distance. Yeah, that was on the .gov thing too. That was a form of population control, the little black bastard. So we've got the 1973, we've got abortion, and then in the 90s we had the crime bills, so now all these dudes are outside of their home, they're all in jail, and now you're telling these black women, well, look, man, you're a single mom. You don't want to be a single mom, just walk down the clinic right there.
Yeah.
And that's why black women are the #1, I don't want to say criminals, but they're the #1 demographic of who's getting abortions in America. You had the audacity to bring up the race card in this situation. Man, listen. Help me, Lord, with these people. Yeah, here we go. Look, and look. Best to prevent unwanted pregnancies, don't you agree? Better than getting an abortion. That has nothing to do with the fact that you brought up the black race, and I just read to you the reasons why our president believed, and Cecile Richard believed, that we should have had abortions. Do you want me to quote, what's that woman's name? The other monstrous individual that God took off the planet. What's her name?
Oh.
What was the other racist lady? What's her name?
The one that was on Congress?
yeah.
I can't remember her name. Oh, my word.
No, she wasn't in Congress. It was...
she had a seat there.
Yeah,
she held on
to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court. So,
gosh, what was her name?
Well, I don't believe all women that commit abortions commit murders, because a lot of them get lied to. Like my friend Albany, she was lied to. They gave her an ultrasound, and they made sure they looked away from where the baby actually was. It was like her small intestine or something like that. They told her the little dot was her baby. They lied to her. So I'm never going to say that women. And secondly, when dudes like Herschel Walker pressure women who are much weaker, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That's right. We'll look at Ruth Bader Ginsburg's racist quote as well, and then you guys you can deal with that too. Okay. And you notice how he just skips all this stuff. Hey, I need you to focus for a second, okay? Because you brought up the race thing. I didn't bring up the race thing, but since you did, let's see what Ruth Bader Ginsburg had to say about it. And if you don't believe that that God has a sense of humor, I don't know how to.
I know.
I don't know what to tell you. RBG's mixed record on race and justice.
So miserable.
Yeah. Well, most racists are generally miserable people. But I want to see how this dude deals with it. So this is about the Hyde Amendment. I remember. It was about RBG, Hyde Amendments, population. I got to get the exact quote. Oh, boy. Here we go. It's a mixture. Tell us what she said. Here we go. Here's Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This is picture. Yeah, this is straight from Snopes, so you know it's true. Okay. Shout out to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Okay, this is the
Your phone
hero.
over there.
This is
Oh,
the
yeah,
heroine.
yeah.
Here we go. It was so poetic that God deceived that lady. He let her be deceived. She really thought she was going to swear in the first woman president, so she wouldn't retire. And then God took her out in office. She faced her judgment, and then they put Amy Coney Barrett in there, and she was the one that slammed the door on it.
Yep.
Frankly, I had thought at the time Roe was decided there was a concern about population growth. Now watch this, Jesse. And particularly growth in populations we don't want to have too many of. Now, what populations would that be? Miss Ginsburg, what population of people did we not want too many of? The context of that quote was her being surprised that the Hyde Amendment didn't pass because the Hyde Amendment was going to channel federal funds to places like Planned Parenthood. That's the context of that quote. And so she was like, I'm surprised that the federal government didn't get involved in this because it would help to ensure that we would abort populations that we didn't want too many of. These people were eugenists and they were white supremacists. That's what these people are. And that's why black women have the highest abortion total in America. That's why. Yeah. Bring race into it again, bruh. Ridiculous. Didn't realize RBG was such a tall glass of water. Good night.
That's crazy, Glenn.
I think okay, now I see why. Look at what he says. Minority women and girls, I think, are more prone to violence and sexual assault.
Oh my gosh.
So minority women are more prone to violence than white women? Is that what you say? Is that why they're killing their kids at a rate higher than white women? Or maybe it's the societal pressures that funnel that black girl into that clinic. Maybe that's a solution. Maybe like if you have an entire system that's designed to walk one group of people into the abortion clinic and walk other people out of the abortion clinic. Like, Cori Bush, when she talked about her situation, when she changed her mind and then they held her down and pushed those instruments into her body, which is a form of rape. I did a video on that. None of the Believe Women, Black Lives Matter, none of them. None of them had a thing to say. They just sat there and they just kind of like whistled and just went on like nothing happened. Oh my God. Yeah, RGB, she also hated the indigenous folks too. Yeah, that's why I said. She's gone to her reward. As my man Cyril used to say. Every time one of them wicked people would die, he'd be like, so-and-so has gone to their reward.
I do not envy that woman.
Yep. Look at this. They get knocked up like it's a game. Okay, now we see it. This is Jesse Dorsett. Here we go. Black girls are just prone to violence and they just get knocked up like it's a game. That's what they do. You can always find it. It's and look.
This is exactly why Jesus in the New Testament, when they pulled that woman out there to stone her because she had supposedly been doing whatever it was that she was doing.
Yeah.
He said, "Where are your accusers?" Because they only brought her. But it takes more than just a woman to get these things done. But you haven't said a word about any of the men. All you're talking about is these black women getting themselves knocked up because it's a game.
Well, look, all of you now who are mad because this dude has revealed himself to be a racist, this guy was saying that babies weren't fully human.
Yep.
So you can't get mad at the racist stuff. The racist stuff is nothing.
Jeez.
He's already crossed the line, and I mean he revealed himself. He revealed himself as an out-and-out racist. Your black girls just getting knocked up. But forget about the racism angle. Like, that's a distraction. This dude is saying that there are certain human beings, black, white, red, whatever, because they're not as developed as he is, they should be open for killing. That's the real crime here. His racism has nothing to do with anything. I mean, who cares? Good night. All right, guys. We have a another appointment to get to. So don't we have work today? And it's 9:00.
Well, right? Yeah. I thought it was set for 10, but
I still have to. 10?
I have to prep. But
okay.
Yeah, let me just double check.
All right. So we've got. Oh, you're not racist. You're not. Oh, that's right. You're not racist. Okay. You're just ageist. You just believe that little babies are beneath you and we can kill them. But God forbid you get called a racist. I mean, in my economy, look, man, I don't know a thing about golf. Neither do none of the black people I know a thing about golf. But we were all cheering for Tiger Woods, man. Racism to me is a non. It's something we all deal with. I don't care. But killing babies, that's a special kind of evil, bro. And you're out here you've been out here for an hour and a half justifying it. And literally every argument you made has been completely destroyed. And you're just moving on to the next topic. I did not have this conversation to convince you. You're an object lesson for people who are on the fence about this topic. They could see there is no way to justify abortion in any region, scientific, logical, emotional, cognitive. It's just wrong on all counts, and that was your purpose in this discussion. But you obviously, you don't really care about the facts relative to this subject. Yeah. So I don't care about the racism that you espouse on this channel. I don't care about that at all. That doesn't affect me. But geez, man, you out here talking about killing little babies. That's horrifying. That's literally the stuff of horror films, bro.
Ian.
Drake wouldn't advocate for abortion.
I was trying not to, I was trying to keep it. I had to read it, babe.
It's Ian. If Ian says it, I want to see what Ian's my guy.
Oh.
Ian's my guy. You know I'm going to see some shit. Hey, Drake, I heard you like him young. You better never go to Cell Block 1. I mean, you leave it up to Jesse, there'll be no kids for Drake to, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
Because they'll all be dead.
Jeez.
God in the world. Good Lord.
But Ian, yeah, there is no good deed that's going to get anybody pulled out of the depths of hell. That's not going to happen. The point that I was making was that as these people are being dragged down to hell, or in this, they're talking about this darkness that they just keep getting sucked down into, and that they're like falling into, and they know that there's going to be a bottom, but they know it's going to be more terrifying. And then when they get down there, it's a really horrible. These are people with near-death experience, people. And they said that as they were falling, one person said, I tried to think of something good that I had done that I could use basically as leverage. But every time that they thought like that, they fell faster and faster. There is no good deed, because anything good that we're able to do, the only reason that we're able to do anything good is because God is gracious to us and he gives us of his goodness. So we're able to have that goodness to give to other people. So anything, it just almost basically, not almost, it does. It puts us more in debt to God because we're using him at the same time as we're rejecting him. So there's no good deed. When you're a Christian and you understand that everything good comes from God, then as you're doing your good things, you're like, this is because God has been gracious to me. And you're more grateful about that. But no, there's no good thing that we can do that offsets the bad stuff that we do, that gets us out of hell. Like, it's literally only the blood of Jesus Christ and his death on the cross and his resurrection from death that gets us out of hell. Like, if he's your Lord, then he's coming for you. He's not going to leave you in that place. But if he's not your Lord, you spit on him this whole entire life and you're not taking it seriously, well, then when you're on your way getting sucked down there, I don't know what you're going to do, because there's no one to call on. There's no good deed. No matter what good deed you could be friggin' Mother Teresa. It doesn't matter.
What about your badness? Well, what I would say 275 is people who are bad and know that they're bad, I'm almost 99% sure they're going to be good. It's the people that deny all their badness. Mm-hmm. I fight like mad for the lives of babies, but you know that there are other lives that I did not fight for. Put it that way. You know what I'm saying. So I'm not coming here against this horrible evil because I'm some good person. I am a changed person. I am a changing person. But all of my goodness is located in Jesus, and all my evil, all of my dark thoughts were punished in Jesus on the cross. So anytime my badness comes to me, I just go right back to that cross. And I say, if a brutalized Jesus is not enough to satisfy God's wrath, then nothing I do will. And so I just stay with that. And that sustained me for my whole life. And I trust that in your last moments and you start seeing all the shit you did or whatever, all the people you hurt, all you got to do is say one word, Jesus. That's it. That's it. So it's him or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
I am not doing any of these good deeds because I'm making up for it, whatever. The fact of the matter is, the scripture says it is the love of Christ that compels us.
Mm-hmm.
We're convinced that one died for all, therefore all died. And he died for all, that those who live should no longer live for themselves, but for him who loved him and gave himself for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I do what I do. I am compelled by the love of Christ. I am not, obviously, I probably sinned 50 million times in this entire exchange, and I don't focus on it. Now, there's things where God will tell me through Sori or through my friends. that's happened in Texas. Vin, you shouldn't have said that. And you know, then I have to repent. I got to come on here. I got to apologize, send a text to somebody, whatever. And that's the reason I'm okay with doing it, because who do we have to impress? Like, who is there to impress? I'm a digital collection of little dots on your screen. That's not really me that you're looking at. So what do I need to, what are we trying to impress each other for, man? Like, we're all sinners, bro. We're all nasty. All of us are. It is what it is. Me saying the racist practices of fellow Americans is not racist. I didn't say it was right. I will say it's wrong, and aborting the child because the father is not white or rich is evil. Okay, aborting the child because you want to finish med school is also evil. Aborting the child because you've got 2 of them already and you don't want a 3rd one is also evil. We're talking about killing human beings. We're talking about human beings that have just as much right to be here as you. But you obviously don't believe that. And this is a crazy thing in our country. Like, he's out here trying to fight for the idea that he's not racist, but he's okay with telling us that he's all right with killing babies. This is how twisted we are as a society. Who cares if you're a racist? You out here advocating for, lying for the practice of child killing. You got up here and said 78,000 women were dumb enough to kill themselves in botched abortions a year. That was just a plain lie. But you want to come out and say, hey, I'm not racist.
Ridiculous. I look at news, says, what if the aborted baby would be the next coming of Jesus? Jesus is never going to come as a baby again. That's over with. He came as a baby. He lived out his 33 years. He died on the cross. He rose from the dead. That's never going to happen again like that. Now he's in his full glory, his full power. It's never going to go like that again. But remember, we said that people in Genesis, it told us that people are made in the image and likeness of God. So that means every child that's born is to show us what God is like. So no, it's not Jesus Christ himself, but it is a version of a picture for us to see and an understanding of what God is and who God is that we kill.
I do see what he's saying, though.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because he said, what if Mary had exercised her right to abort Jesus, right? Like, and really,
and her circumstances were like
right.
The entire community at that time, because she got pregnant before she was technically married.
Yep.
So the
her
entire
boyfriend
community
was about to break up with her.
Yep.
She was about to be a single mom of color.
Mm-hmm.
Is a perfect candidate for abortion for these people. Mm-hmm. So your point is well taken.
And the fact is, it said, like, the way that it speaks about Mary, it almost, you get this idea that she was already set apart before even Christ was put in her womb. And so knowing how women are, knowing how societies are and how jealousy works, like, if she was already somebody that was like kind of, like a sweeter sort of person or whatever, people were looking for a reason to crucify that girl. 100%. So the minute she got pregnant before that, I'm sure they were very happy to turn their backs on her and to treat her certain ways. Yeah. When it was time to go down and wash the clothes by the river all together, all that stuff, that's why the woman at the well was the woman at the well, because she was there separated from the society because of the type of woman that she was. The way that cultures were back then, it wasn't like it is now.
But once again,
it depends on where
the
you are.
woman is always holding the bag for the bullshit that the men do.
It's ridiculous.
Like, I've seen dudes walk the girl into the abortion clinic and then stand outside and smoke while they're up there killing his child.
Mm-hmm.
So she has to deal with that. He's like, oh, I got smoke out of here. I'm stressed out.
Yep.
I'm like, you weak son of a bitch.
Yep.
At least go up there with your
That's
girl.
what I said. I said, what are you doing? I'll go with her at least.
Dudes are soft, man.
Nope.
It's weak ass men, dude. It's weak ass men. That's it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm never gonna support any sort of action, legal action against no woman for an abortion. When that whole institution was propped up and set up by us so that we could avoid our responsibilities, stop it. Now this is squarely on us as men, I believe. If men would be men, this would not be an issue. We got dudes out here. We got men out here lying. Talking about women are dumb enough to kill themselves at a rate of 78,000 a year. You're just throwing out bullshit all the time. We're talking about the lives of people, bro. But you just wanted to be known that you're not a racist. You'll just lie to get babies killed, but you're not a racist. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Freddie Sodium. Freddie Sodium.
Oh, God.
You let him hit it raw. Nah, that almighty God. Yeah, be careful. Be careful. But it is true, though. You know, I don't know. Oh, your concern is for the woman? Is that why you lied? Is that why you lied about him? You're so concerned that you lied about him? Her life matters. If the child is aborted because of medical issues, here goes to the medical issues again, or bad choices, she can have another if she's blessed. That's the same thing is true of infanticide, right? My concern is for the woman, you know, like they were together and then when the baby was born, the guy decided he's going to break up with her. So she just strangled that little nigga to death. So, you know, I'm concerned about her. You know, you know, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, dude, you lied. 78,000 women are not dying a year because of botched abortions. That's a lie. You lied. You did. I'm not gonna say all the other shit you said was lied because those are just standard pro-choice arguments that just get thrown about. But you threw out a very, very specific number that I know for a fact is a lie. So yeah, you absolutely lied about that. You were wrong about everything else, but that you lied for sure.
He says you're not being honest. Murder is a crime, is it not? Wouldn't that be our point?
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Of course, murder's a crime, but what does it matter what's a crime?
I just grabbed the first thing. You didn't grab anything, Jesse. We told you to validate it, and you couldn't even validate it. You told us to Google it. You lied.
Yeah.
And until you get us the data, everybody's going to look at you as a liar. Because everybody knows how I get down on this channel. I don't talk about shit unless I got the information to back it up. So you lied, absolutely. The other stuff, I just let you get off on. I didn't say that you were lying when you misquoted the Bible and all that shit. I didn't say you were lying. I just thought you were ignorant, and you were. But that 78,000 number, that is a fucking lie, for sure. You lied. Freddie Sodium. Best spent money late, y'all. Thank you, Freddie. Seriously, the name Freddie Sodium, that's a pretty interesting name, too. Yeah, lucky for Jesse that his mom didn't choose to have another later. Correct. Like, literally every pro-choicer is a raging hypocrite because they're out here making the argument.
100%.
You are allowed to be born. If it's murder, then it's a crime. Murder is a crime punishable by death. I don't believe in the death penalty, number one. And number two, the woman in an abortion case is under a very special circumstance because the person that's actually forcing her into the clinic can get off with complete hands-free while she has to hold the bag. And I don't believe in that kind of a world.
And thirdly, what does it matter whether or not something is a crime? That means you're looking at what the state or the government has told you is right and wrong. I thought everybody was about separation of church and state.
Correct.
Morality is being dictated to you by the government. You're good with that? No, I'm gonna take the Bible, and that's gonna dictate to me my morality and my reality. I'm not gonna go by what the government says is right and wrong. There was a time where he would have been he would have been considered human, and there was a time where we couldn't even vote.
Correct.
We were treated like property or have credit cards and all that stuff. No, I'm not going by what the government says. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna stick to what Jesus says. Jesus said men and women alike. Doesn't matter what race. Race was not even a thing. That's nothing.
Jesse, your arguments don't mean anything to me. I've stood by women who've had multiple abortions outside fighting for babies. I'm a Christian. We believe in redemption.
Yep.
Okay? We can use Texas. No, we didn't arrest any woman in Texas. We didn't have to do all that. You know what happened? We made it illegal, and no women were out there killing their babies in Texas. We don't need to send people to prison. We can forgive people, and we can say, we as a culture instituted this practice, and we're going to take this practice away, just like slavery.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jesse,
like
that's
slavery.
what you're saying?
Yeah, just like slavery. A horrible crime was committed, and we did not go after everybody in the South and say, okay, you guys had slaves, so now you guys are going to pay X. No, we actually what we did was we gave reparations to the slave owners so that they could keep living. Now, though that has a very interesting conversation line that I'm not going to get to, but this is also a very, very simple issue. You make this illegal, women are not going to kill their own children, and men will not be able to have their sex trafficking industries run as smoothly as before. Because I don't know if you probably know this, but go ahead, Miss Margaret Lederer. She testified to the U.S. Congress that abortion is part and parcel of every sex trafficking operation for obvious reasons.
And secondly, we think that you should criminalize the abortion doctor, not the mother.
Right. Because there's no way for us to ascertain a legitimate mens rea from that girl if she's being threatened by her pimp boyfriend. See, if you're just out here thinking about abortion as like a topic or whatever, but if you've actually been in the trenches with these women, you see that a lot of them were forced into that clinic
100%.
based on the circumstances, as well as the boyfriend who many times is a pimp, or the father who says, I will not take you in the middle of a Maine winter if you have this third child, etc., etc., etc. And if we made it, if we started punishing people, what would happen is that father would say, I never said that. That boyfriend would say, I never said that. And the only person holding the bag would be the woman. Nice try. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
We were literally outside of an abortion clinic. We were offering women other options, other choices, even that we would adopt their baby, whatever help that they needed. We were there to get them to the right resources or to help them directly ourselves. And this woman was walking up, and usually they wouldn't make eye contact with me when they were headed into the clinic. They would just look at the ground for obvious reasons. But I was pleading with this woman. I was saying, I'll help you, whatever it is that you need, just like talk to me. And she stopped and she looked at me, and he grabbed her. He shoved her in front of the cop. He shoved her into the clinic, and he turned around and he told me, shut the fuck up, he said, as he shoved this woman into the clinic. So, and I just want to point out on this racist,
to go after that girl.
In this racist situation, in what situation would a cop stand there while a black man that towered over me could yell in my face, shut the fuck up, while shoving another woman into a building without him doing anything?
Only in service of the murder of a black child.
That's it.
Only in service of the murder of a black child.
That's it.
Now you're dealing with people who actually do this shit on the street, bro. Not like you. You sit there and watch YouTube videos and shit about people, blah, 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 blah. And that's why you're able to throw out all this bullshit that was wrong. And you just keep going for the next thing, And we already knew what you were going to say before you said it. But we actually were on the front lines with this shit, bro. And as I said, all we have to do is look at Texas. The goal is not to criminalize people. The goal is to promote life.
Yep.
All them women in Texas, we didn't need to go back and say, how many abortions you were on retroactive? No. All we had to do is tell the doctors, look, we're going to take away your license. You're going to do some jail time, man. I'm doctors, man. That dude in Colorado is $10,000 a pop to kill your 9-month-old baby.
Oh my God.
Yeah. These people are evil. They're evil people, man. So, yeah, man. Sorry. I mean, I'm glad you're here. You took the beating like a man. I mean, I appreciate that, but good night, bro. We're talking about human lives here, man. At the end of the day, this is human life. And all the euphemisms in the world is not going to change that fact. And I know that because when the girls come out and the kid comes out after shoving his girlfriend into the clinic, and they're crying about it, and they know that they can't change this decision, we're out there. I didn't see any of the pink vest people out there crying with dude when that happened.
Pink vest people there are people that volunteer for Planned Parenthood, and what they basically do is they walk these women in to make sure that nobody tries to talk to them or change them from their position. They act like they're a support person for them, but they only walk them in. And the women are more broken when they're walking out and they're holding their stomachs, and they look messed up when they're coming out. Because one, they've been drugged. Two, they just killed their kid, and the reality of the empty feeling of your womb. Like after you go through your pregnancy and you deliver your baby, there's a moment that women everywhere will talk about, that when you're taking your shower after your womb is empty, even though you have a live baby out in the next room,
Even though you needed a break from that baby.
even though you needed a break from that baby, there is this empty sort of feeling that you get inside that you can't really describe, and it doesn't really feel like that somebody can like really be there for you. Like a lot of those showers I take by myself because I'm like sort of like working through that feeling. And these women are experiencing that feeling, but it's not because life has happened and there is a baby in the other room. It's that they're dealing with the reality of the death of their child at their own hands, in a sense, because they walked them in there and they're in that womb. They can't leave. They can't go anywhere. So you've held them and brought them in there, and then you've walked out without them. And so when that's going on, like seeing their faces when they come out of those situations was pretty terrible. But never once did those pink vest ladies walk them out. They held them like this on the way in. On the way out, those girls walked by themselves. They walked past those women.
You can't
and the
bill
other
that,
thing
you
is,
can't bill that insurance until that procedure's been done.
the other thing is, those women, when they were acting like they were protecting the women walking in from us who were giving them other options, then why aren't you protecting them from us on the way out? If that's what you're really doing.
Yeah.
Because now when you were walking in, it was theory what you were doing. When you're walking out, you did that shit. So if you're worried about what we're going to do, why aren't you protecting the women then? Because they didn't care. It was about money. And these women, it was incredible. They'd be wearing their pink vests. Babies come by in a stroller. They'd stop the whole press. Oh my gosh, this baby. I saw this woman literally pour water out of her own water bottle into the cap to feed to a dog. Like, that's... Like, it's not like these women are like just complete, like, robotically calloused people that are horrible. Like, they still have humanity left in them. But when these girls are coming in, they're right by their side and they let them walk out broken by themselves. It's horrible.
Here's Jesse talking about Doctors Without Borders in Africa. Man, you tried to say that we would be guilty for 78,000 deaths via botched abortions. It's all there. It's on video. We all saw it. And you don't have the 78,000 number because you lied. You lied, but you don't have the character to admit that you lied. Now you want to talk about Doctors Without Borders in third world countries. Nah, bro. We've got Texas. Texas has been abortion free for about 1.5 years. Where is a massive glut of women being prosecuted? Where are the dead women? There's 78,000 dead women a year because of botched abortion. So Texas should be sky high. Where is the number? I need to get that little thing with Kendrick. That first song he did when he says, "You lied, you lied,
You lied.
you lied." I gotta.
You do need it. You really do. You got
lie.
another super chat.
Yeah. You lied.
You lied. You lied.
Political these days is no different than a white blood cell interacting with a pathogen. Get the fuck out of here. This guy's smart. That was a very intricate. Whoever this guy is, a very intricate kind of way of saying what he had to say. Here he goes. Do a little reading. It might help. Man, Jesse, stop it now. Now you're just being silly, bro. You're just being silly. Nobody who's watched this conversation is gonna be like, that guy with the Geffen, he really doesn't know his shit. He doesn't know anything. I'm sorry. I'm the only one that's quoted Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the Bible, and Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger, and I sourced all of them.
We're still waiting for your
We're
source.
still waiting for yours.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah, see, Freddie knows. You lied.
You lied.
This is Jesse Lee Peter trolling. Love you guys. Yeah, here goes I Look at News. Help us. Poor countries are suffering famine and disease because they don't have birth control, not because U.S. sanctions starve them and stop medical supplies. Correct. What a weirdo. Pride comes the fall, my brother. I agree. Pride does come before the fall. But again, the scripture says to answer a fool according to his folly. It's very important to make fools look foolish. And being a fool has nothing to do with your cognitive abilities. It has to do with your heart condition. You know what the main way to identify a fool is in the book of Proverbs? In Proverbs, wisdom is actually female.
That's right.
As a matter of fact, wisdom gets divinized in chapter 8, so much so that most commentators, including me, believes that that's actually Christ talking, but it's in the feminine. Do what you will with that, dear listener. But you know what Lady Wisdom says in the book of Proverbs? Those who hate me love death. And love in a Hebrew understanding is not, oh, I love death. It is the promotion of death, the acceptance of death, the presenting death as something good. Those who hate me love death. You're a fool. And everybody needs to know that you're a fool because fools get people killed. So I'm talking about the biblical definition of a fool. Those who hate me love death. You have gotten in a steady stream of an hour and a half of truth. You brought up the Bible, you were wrong. Then you jumped to another topic, you were wrong about that. Then you jumped to another topic, you were wrong about that. Literally, you're batting 1,000 right now, bro. So listen, all the pride goes before a fall, blah, 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 blah. Say what you want. Only the Lord knows whether I'm prideful or not. I'm not even going to judge myself. What I do know, though, is that you're a fool, and I'm not going to let anybody out here see you as anything other than that. Because you're not an honest actor here, bro. Simple. Oh, and not knowing that you are proud is dangerous, Jesse. Correct. Very correct. Very true. It's almost always the most arrogant person in the world that calls me prideful. And it's because your pride has been injured today because you thought that you were going to just throw out all this bullshit and that nobody's going to call you on it. And now your pride got injured, so now you want to project that onto me.
I believe that's correct.
I don't own the truth. I don't own facts. All I can do is serve the truth. Because the truth is inevitable. You were the one that brought up the Bible and all that stuff, bro, not me. I'd rather not project and rely on insults and ad hominem. It's not ad hominem. I gave you the biblical definition of what a fool was, and you fit that like a glove, bro. That's not ad hominem.
Yeah, okay, Jesse, all I hear is I'm right, you're wrong, you're a fool. Exactly. That right there, that is how the enemy of your soul is using this entire conversation against you, because all that is your pride talking to you. Nobody's saying that. I mean, you are being a fool in this conversation, and you are wrong in this conversation. That is true. But what we're telling you, we're appealing to you and telling you, repent from this. You don't have to say, let the fool leave his foolishness. Turn from your ways and come to the truth. You're just holding on to these foolish ways and this death to children. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and look, I knew.
Learn from the conversation.
I knew
yourself
when you tried to mangle Numbers 5 to say what you wanted it to say, and then Numbers 5 clearly demonstrated that you were not telling. Anybody that's watching this video can look back. You didn't get called a fool until 2 hours into this discussion, bro.
Yep.
We were very, very nice to you, and then you started lying. And once you started lying, then we stopped being nice to you, because the Bible tells me to call a fool out according to its folly. You had ample time, bro. Ample time. So no, it is not a Christ-like trait. There's a lot of times that Jesus made Pharisees look dumb. Matter of fact, one time he says, you're wrong because you don't know the scripture or the power of God. So I don't know what kind of Christianity they sold you, but I'm trying to live like real world Christianity, bro. You out here advocating for the death of people. Ain't nobody feeling sorry for you over here. You're advocating for the death of the most vulnerable people in any society ever. And now you want people to feel sorry for you because you look silly in front of everybody. Well, you look silly because you wouldn't just stop when you were wrong.
The National Institute of Health.gov says that botched abortions kill more than 66,000 women each year. So how many women a year are dying because they're doing back alley abortions?
And then these are, once again, third world countries. And we're not talking about the United States of America, you weirdo. I didn't put you on the spot. Nobody put you on the spot, bro. I didn't put you on the spot. You threw out a number. We were talking about abortion in the United States of America. You made up a lie that 78,000 women were dying a year because they were doing abortions themselves. That was the context of the discussion. I told you to validate it. You couldn't because it was a lie. And now you caught feelings off of it. It is what it is, man. And your response was to tell me to Google it. I didn't tell you to Google it. I didn't tell you to Google numbers 5. I didn't tell you to Google the Margaret Sanger quote. I didn't tell you to Google Planned Parenthood. I showed you that. I didn't tell you to Google the .gov thing where Richard Nixon said that y'all wanted abortion to kill off the little black bastards. I sourced everything that I put down there, bro. Everything that I said was real. I put down there. You didn't. Simple. What does it matter where it is? It's murder in America, but not India. Again, the context was you said that I would be responsible for 78,000 deaths a year by making abortion illegal in America. You weirdo. That's what you said. That's where the 78,000 number came from. You tried to make me responsible for the death of 78,000 women by supporting the lives of these babies. Yeah, goodbye. Yeah, goodbye. Yeah. Get out of here, man. Bounce, man. It is what it is. You don't know what you're talking about. You never have. You did not argue in good faith. Now you're embarrassed because you got proven wrong and you didn't have any information to back up what you were saying. Good night. And again, I was not, once the numbers discussion happened and I saw that guy wouldn't like repent and say, oh shit, I was wrong. Once he went on to the next topic, that's when I was done trying to convince him. Now, when a person shows you that the truth doesn't affect them, there's still important reason to talk to them because there's always people watching the discussion. And they're on the sidewalk and they don't know like where they're coming from. And so when you have a conversation like this, you expose the antithesis so much that people go, holy shit, this thing is indefensible. Happens all the time. I get emails all the time after talking to dudes like that. So it's very important to continue to talk to people like that. Because you're not going to convince them, but my goal was not, once he started with the silliness, I wasn't trying to convince him. But he was a very good, foil for getting other people to see how absolutely indefensible abortion actually is. Defending the Bible is not a position of pride, or else people would like us, but they hate us. Right. Now, am I going to say that I know perfectly? Yeah, that was the one.
This is the Planned Parenthood false stats.
Yeah.
Thousands, because they said thousands.
That was the Washington Post one. Yep. I had a debate. I'm not going to say who the person was, but they trotted out this. The Washington Post, okay, which is owned by Amazon, gave Miss Wen 4 Pinocchios for lying. You lied. You lied. It's all there. It's all there. Yeah, all you had to do is scroll back. Look, not everybody in here even holds my position on abortion. Not every, like people they're like, yeah, man, good arguments. And I'm still, like it happens. But don't come on here and lie, man. You threw out all this weirdo shit, and you couldn't validate any of it. Now, at the same time, Paul says, I'm not aware of anything against me, but that doesn't mean I'm innocent. I'll let the Lord judge. I don't believe that I had any motivation to be prideful or arrogant or whatever, but that doesn't mean I'm right. I'm going to have to leave that to the Lord. See what I'm saying? I don't even judge myself. I can leave that to the Lord. Just because I feel like I was like on the up and up, on the straight and narrow in this discussion, doesn't mean that I actually was. So I gotta take that up with the Lord, and I gotta take it up with my wife and other Christians who, can observe the situation and say, hey, maybe you could have said this different. Maybe you could have said that different. There's always ways to improve.
I think I made a mistake. I don't think this is .gov. I thought it was because it over here had .gov. This one.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, so I take back my numbers before because I don't know. I didn't actually research that before.
No, you read the thing like as it was.
Yeah, I did, but I might have seen it wrong. So
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So.
But this right here is looking like.
Yeah, we got Franco in the area. Hey, we got in 20 minutes we're going on the other side.
I want to go eat some supper before.
If I could, I think there's one more RB in there.
There is. There's more. Yeah. Cool. You're not gonna eat before?
Nah. Yeah, I don't eat until after the job's done. Job hasn't even started yet. Somebody asked me if I was wearing this for stylistic or a political statement? And the answer is yes. It's both. It's both. Defending human life is not prideful, it's noble. Well, yeah, definitely it's noble, but you could do something noble in a prideful way. So, and I've done that a million times. So my point is, like, you guys have known me for years. Some of y'all got my number, and wifey's been here. She saw, most of it. So I'm open to all of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm open to all of that. I'm saying right now, like, I don't necessarily feel like I know how I am when I'm being prideful. I don't necessarily feel like I was this time, but that doesn't mean I'm totally right, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, you always got to have that kind of there. And look, I don't, that's not going to stop me from, advocating for these children. But at any time, like, you get put into the mix, you just, like, in a perfect world, God and what he says and what he thinks and what he feels should be all of it. But anytime there's a little Vincent in the mix, it's going to be bad. And so, it's like, are you perfect? If we all say, well, no, I'm not perfect. Okay, that means you probably could have done something different here and here. And that's okay. Like, that's okay to accept about yourself. And I accept that about myself. But I have people here, like, I got XBM, who I trust. Like, I know he's got to walk with God. We got God is Gracious in here. I got, Mikey came in later, but, me and Mikey talk every day. So I trust it if I'm, Applejack is like my brother. You know what I'm saying? And Applejack will disagree with me on stuff. Like, we had a little mini debate on presuppositionalism, I think. So like, that's why I feel confident to just let loose, because I got people here who will check me. I'm not surrounded by yes men and yes women. You know what I'm saying? Like, not even my kids agree with me on everything. So I feel pretty secure. I think maybe you got triggered by the leftist stance, which is what Jesse was doing. Yeah, the only time I get tight in these conversations is when they try to bring race into it, as if abortion has been anything other than a form of black genocide. And that's when I get upset, is when white people try to use this race card to justify abortion, or like when white people were saying, "Oh my God, I feel so bad for black women now," when the Roe v. Wade thing got overturned. Like, that will get me, with the quickness, because everybody knows I'm a lover of my people. Everybody knows I'm America first, and I'm a lover of black people. So if somebody says something reckless about America, or says something reckless about my people, sometimes, it gets me like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like, honestly, like, if I see you in a room, or if I see, XBM, or if I see Applejack, I'm more likely to let loose more, because I'm like, yo, if I'm off, they're gonna say something. You see what I'm saying? So I rely on you guys a lot to check me, because you can't see yourself when you're operating. You see what I'm saying? I never agree with Vincent. What's wrong with that? Yeah, abortion became a human right after black people got the right to vote. Correct. And I do not believe that those are incidental issues either. And neither did RBG, apparently, because she thought that there were populations that we wanted less of, like less black kids, less indigenous kids, all that type of jazz. I am proud for being able to change my mind based on solid evidence and a good argument. I mean, from my perspective, I was, I'll never forget where I was when this came to me. But the Lord said to me, Vincent, common sense is common grace. The ability for us to look at situations that are just plain obvious is also a gift from God. I think if you were to ask this question to anybody and say, what's your knee-jerk reaction? Should we be able to kill babies? I think 10 out of 10 people would say no. you have to couch it in all this different language, right? For people to agree, oh, well, yeah, those babies will kill them. And that's why he said things like terminated pregnancy, blah, 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 because they can't bring themselves to talk about what they're actually advocating for because it's ugly. And we know it's ugly. Vin build each other, though. I got to see the squad for who they were, and you got me to read the Bible open-mindedly. Yeah, and I'm a very hard person to convince, especially, the whole AOC question. I wanted to believe in her, deeply wanted to believe in her, partly because I didn't want the Bernie Sanders dream to die, and I figured that she could take up the mantle. And I felt like she had enough gangster in her to take up the mantle, and so it took me a long time for that dream to die, man. Because I thought to myself, man, if she isn't what we think we are, then how in the world are we going to get Medicare for all? But the fact of the matter is, guys, we're 2 or 3 years after the pandemic. We're not even talking about Medicare for all anymore. It's not even a discussion anymore. It's Ukraine this, Ukraine that, Israel this, Hamas that. We're not even talking about what we can do for Americans here. Like that Medicare for all has been successfully destroyed, and everybody wants to believe that they come to their conclusions purely because of logic and things like that. The reality is, I wanted to hold on to that dream, and she's a woman, and I like it when the girls go out there and close the deal. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, she's from the Bronx. That's where I was from. So I wanted to hold on to it. So. Yeah, I still think she had some potential. Maybe she could turn it around, but after a while, it just became so obvious and clear that she was not that person. I think it was. I forgot the last straw. Was the Met Gala? I forgot what it was. Was it the Met Gala or the Amazon union thing? I forgot what it was, but it was something that finally Applejack was like, "Yo, you can't dodge this anymore. You got to come and address this, and you can't dodge it anymore." And, I looked at it, I turned my phone upside down, all type of different ways, and there was just no way to look at it without, coming to that unfortunate conclusion, So, yeah, that was a tough one. That was a tough one for sure. Do you consider a day after pill an abortion? My friend Albany Rose does not. I don't know necessarily what the day after pill does, so I'm not sure. I'll have to go check, but I don't know enough about that to say anything. But Albany doesn't, and if Albany doesn't, I probably don't. So let me get back to you on that one. I'm not sure. Yeah, she had right. She had the tax the rich dress on as she was going into the Met Gala, as she was turning her back on the Amazon workers. That all happened in the same sequence. And that's when, Applejack was like, "Come on, bro, you can't defend this anymore. Come on." And, he was right. But, I've never said I'm a completely objective observer here. You know what I'm saying? That's why we have to do these things in community. I don't have a poli-sci degree. I don't know what I'm talking about. I need you guys to figure, help me figure out a lot of this shit out, So all that to say is I know that I can be wrong, and I know that I have been wrong a bunch of times. And, like I said, you guys aren't seeing the real me. whatever. But yeah, man, like it's plain as day. You know what I'm saying? If it's any consolation, Australia is one of my favorite vassal states. Is that who I think it is? Is that who I think it is? Oh, man. All right, guys, we're about to sign off on this channel. Oh, the fascists at YouTube blocked the other channel. We're on timeout for a week on the other side of YouTube. So if you want to catch us on YouTube, it's going to be Vin and Story Live. It's going to be Vin and Story Live, and you can catch us on YouTube. We've got about 2 or 3 hours of music reviews and stuff to do with you guys. So that's going to be on the Vin and Story Live side. And then I don't know. Maybe I'll. I mean, y'all don't want me to stream the music here, right? That doesn't make sense. We got politics, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So go to Vin and Story Live. Vin, go take a piss and look in the mirror, please. Why? What's wrong with something wrong with my face? I don't know. I think I look okay. What happened? You are manic. Shout out to BC. Shout out to BC. Oh man. BC's been around for like 3 years. BC's been around for years and years and years. Mike says it's music time, Rumble style. Yeah, we've got about 5 minutes before the music starts up. So that should be fun. Remember Soraya said she was going to give me that Red Bull? No Red Bull. Hey, what happened to the Red Bull? I think I have one in the fridge. And that's ridiculous because I went to text Shorty, but her phone's here. Then, should we take biblical numbers literally or should we take the gematria meaning? Example, Jesus may or may not have been in the wilderness for literally 40 days, but he was absolutely tested. It's interesting because in the Bible boogies, the first subject we're going to have is Christian mythology and or biblical mythology and how biblical mythology differentiates or deviates from standard mythology. I think that there is some truth to that, although the 40 number in the Bible speaks of testing. You know, you got 40 days, after the flood and that. You got 40 years in the wilderness. 40 in the... So in Gematria, the numbers carry a certain kind of meaning. Like the most famous example would be 666, right? The mark of the beast. The thing that gets kind of tricky is that, like, so for example, the Sabbath is the 7th day. And so 7 is also a gematria sort of device that's used all through the Bible, Old and New Testament. 7, 7 sevens are decreed for your people, blah, 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 like in Daniel 7 through 12, right? So, but the interesting thing about the number 7 is that it literally is the 7th day. So there's a literal side of it, and then there's also like the gematria sort of application. So I do think that there's probably space for that somewhere. Like, for example, like how you get like these very round numbers like 40, right? Like, could it have been 35? You know what I'm saying? Could have been, you know what I mean? Like, were they being like, Western people we think in like these exact sort of ways. Were they counting numbers that way? You know what I'm saying? Like, is 38, enough to get to 40? You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think there's definitely room for that in the scripture for sure. Hey, Tina in this house. I left a bunch of comments on Rumble and read them, but there was no one else there. Yeah, my bad. I completely forgot about the Rumble side because I had the other side up. Thank you for being on Rumble, by the way, though. Good Lord. We had a giant, it wasn't a giant jihad. It was a good discussion. I think it was still a good discussion. It was still a good discussion. And as soon as Sori gets back, we're gonna go on to the other side of what do you call it? We're gonna be doing the music stuff. We had a giant like stream like a week ago. I'm still talking about it. We basically watched an entire season of a show, like from 3 o'clock all the way down. It was crazy. We spent like 9 hours together. It's still like one of my favorite. You can only see it on Rumble because we were watching like a literal show. It's like Midnight Mass or something like that. And we watched the show. It's like 7 episodes. And we watched them like in sequence, like full. We didn't stop anything. You know how we get down. And we were able to do that on Rumble because Rumble's small enough to where it doesn't get caught with stuff, you know? So yeah, we love that. So more of that's coming. So that's why like we have that Rumble account active so that we can like it opens up more stuff that we can do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping we get more shows like that. That was so fun, man. That was like incredible. I think like being able to stay all that time with everybody, that was the cool part, you know, because it was like a 9-hour stretch where we did it, you know. So that was fun, and like we didn't know what was gonna happen, you know, for the most part. So that was really cool. My turn to pick a series. Well, I know which series you're gonna pick. It's probably gonna be Reservoir Dogs or something like that. We're also thinking about doing a Chosen marathon, but I don't know. We might do that with the Boogiers. I'm not sure. Tina, are you in that Boogie chat? There's a Boogie chat where everybody's like putting the timestamps and stuff together. So hit me up. Hit the cell if we didn't get you in the Boogie chat. See what I'm saying? Because we're handing out the schedules and stuff because we're starting up on. I'm pretty sure it's Saturday. So let me know. Emily and Sori are running those. So if they didn't hit you up for your schedule, it's probably because you're not in the Boogie chat. If there was 28 days, 13 months, we would be on a moon calendar. Yep, I agree. XBM, it's an alliance. Yeah. I forgot which alliances it was. I'm in the Boogie chat, but I ain't downloading more apps to be a part of it. Yeah, I don't think it's an app. I just think it's like you just plug in your time or whatever the time you're supposed to be in. Brian Wilson is in bad shape health-wise. Who's Brian Wilson? Do we know him? Is he one of our people? Neurocognitive disorder. Oh, he's a singer. Oh shit, Beach Boys. Oh, okay. Oh, that sucks. So he's one of the Beach Boys. I'm surprised that we don't have a lot of Beach Boys requests. Weren't they big for a while? My brother used to talk about the Beach Boys a lot. A whole lot. Yeah, I'm surprised. I forgot there was one. I forgot the name of the song, but there was one like kind of song that was like my brother loved it, but I can't remember it for some reason. Would you stop it, BC? They didn't die. What are you talking about? They didn't die. Beach Boys didn't die. Stop lying. All right, guys, we got to get out of here. We're gonna be loaded. Remember, it's gonna be Vin and Sori live, or it's gonna be on Rumble, Twitter, and Vin and Sori live. So there you go. Check it out. Check it out. All right, guys. Much love to all you beautiful people. We shall see you on the other side. Vin out. Love your neighbor. Take care of each other.